up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't come to play. We ain't come to play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't come to play. We ain't come to play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't come to play. We ain't come to play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape. Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
The tape.
UGA game day, boy, we ball out. Pull up, put the whole conference in the doghouse. Leave them 6 feet, see me on the win streak. All-star status, go coach, and the bench deep. Offense on 10, how we run it? Your best ain't nothing, we gon' send them boys punting. Black and red, got them dead on arrival. Defense hunkered down for the tie. Hey, you don't want it with the dogs. Found guy on it, you don't want it with my dog. Break it down, play by play, that's the day-to-day. They know we ain't come to play, boy, it's UGA. Kirby Smart, I cannot play the fool. Back to back, we did not come to lose. Back to back, like we got something to prove. Pay your dues, dog nation on the move. What's up?
We doing a little bit different around here.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape. The tape.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Shut up. Let's grind.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape. The
Shut
tape.
up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
Shut up. The tape. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You like that? You really like that? Let's shut up and grind some tape. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into the Film Guy Network on a fabulous Tuesday evening.
Damn.
That is some thunder.
Yes, it is.
That is some absolute thunder. Okay, hey, hopefully we can make it through
the
this
stream blacks out for any reason. Just
Hey,
power.
no,
It's not my fault.
Hey,
Go
we're
ahead and put it out
hardline
there.
Ethernet cabled. Okay, so the Wi-Fi shouldn't be a problem.
Power goes out.
Yeah, power goes out. We have a problemo. But other than that, we're going to roll. We got a loaded show for you guys tonight. Only the thunderstorm could keep us from giving you these takes tonight. Alabama named a starting quarterback this week. We'll talk about that. Texas A&M, I think, is going to lead the SEC in rushing. I'll tell you why tonight. One of LSU's best players is in for a little bit of a position change. We'll give an opinion on that, or I'll give an opinion on that tonight. Lincoln Riley confirmed dodging smoke. Is this correct, Kirby?
Ooh, it's a bad look.
It's a bad look. We'll talk about it tonight. Lincoln Riley not helping the you duck smoke conversations that are revolving around him throughout his coaching career. And of course, we have ACC predictions tonight on the show. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. But we have to start the show with one of the dumbest stories that I think has encapsulated the internet in recent memory revolving around college football. If you haven't seen, someone went digging into John Matier's Venmo account history only to find multiple charges titled sports gambling. One indeed said sports gambling, USC, UCLA. Okay, obviously most people connected to this to a college football player gambling, which is a no-no. Okay, it is a no. It is worth NCAA investigations, all that good stuff. For all the background information, what you need to know, this happened during his freshman season when he wasn't playing football, and none of these, at least Venmo statements, direct or show any signs of he might have been gambling on Wazoo football. To me, guys, it's a non-story. This is just like one of those things and one of those moments where you just have to ask yourself, how dumb can you be? Like, how dumb can you be? When this first came out, it happened last night when we were on live air, and we're like, no way. That's got to be a fake story. No, this is real. His Venmo account history got ran down, like, back to 2022.
Honestly, though, I mean, as dumb as it is to explicitly say this is for sports gambling, Venmo might be the way to do it, because you can do exactly what John Matier did of say, just an inside joke. Like, how are you going to track that? How are you going to prove that? There's no way of actually, and like, honestly, the inside joke, as bad of a lie as it looks, it's not that bad of one, because anybody who has done Venmo before, you've probably done something stupid that is actually not what you're transactioning money for, like saying, sending money for, I don't know, like balloons, but it's actually something else, like.
What kind of stuff do you say on Venmo, Jay Will?
I don't know. I'm sure you can go look through my Venmo feed and find out.
Is the Archman thing real?
No, thing's not.
Is that Photoshop?
No, dude, the Carson Beck thing's not real.
Okay.
I saw one with
Carson Beck was a little more heavy-handed.
Sometimes you get tricked by the internet. The Snapchat thing, I get. Obviously, those are fake, but the Venmo transactions looked real.
Oh yeah,
the Photoshop attempts on that one looked really real. This again, a non-issue for me. I'm not going to get on my high horse about you losing $50 on a game you didn't play in.
Yeah, and again, and Joe Klatt had the tweet of the day. I wish I pulled it up beforehand, but it was basically like, are we really going to live in a world where we look blindly to all of the obvious evidences of tampering and all of the things that go on behind the scenes where college football players become free agents twice a year, but this is going to have us clutching our pearls? Like, come on, let's get our priorities straight.
We stumbled into a kind of discussion pre-show of, I think of all the sports that are A, you're able to gamble on, but B, that everyone has a fear of maybe this sport might be corruptible, or maybe it might be fixable, if you will. Oh, what happens if a player gets corrupted by a gambling agency, whatever. There's a lot of fears around that, right? Especially as gambling becomes more rampant around this country, becomes more legal in more and more states. But guys, I think football of all the sports is damn near impossible to rig, okay? Other than like, hey, go get the quarterback to start fixing games, which I think would be the most obvious thing in the world. Like, this is different, where an NBA guy is about to get absolutely in a boatload of trouble for fixing his own player props. A wide receiver at A&M can't do that. A wide receiver at A&M can't fix his player prop unless he just starts dropping every ball, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's how you would do it. I think that the player props is the avenue for you to fix games. But again, that doesn't necessarily fix the game. I think that it's still fixable in some instances. Like, I think, who was it? Kayshon Boutte from LSU had a little bit of trouble with this last year or a couple years ago.
But he was betting his overs.
Yeah, but you can just as easily bet your unders. Or the also thing is, it provides a quote unfair advantage to players because they have insider info. They know what the game plan is going to look like. They know, hey, I'm going to get a lot of targets, or I'm not going to get a lot of targets.
And look, if my diehard passion was gambling, and the morality, or whether or not there was a significant market advantage, if I was worried about that in gambling, I'd be worried about whether or not, but I don't think football game outcomes are ever going to be impacted by a dude trying to mess with a gambling market. I just think there's too many moving parts in a football game for one guy to tank an outcome. You see what I'm saying? Now, my dad did have a theory back in the day, happened to be a gambler, that if the mafia or the mob or whoever's out here interested in fixing games, if they ever wanted to do this, all they'd have to do is find a 500 kicker, a kicker who is on a 500 football team, and just get him to miss all the important kicks.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly believe
that's the closest thing we've got.
The easiest way to rig a sporting game, and everybody referees would be the easiest way to rig a sport game.
Which also got tied back to Venmo. So
yes, it did. And blatantly stating what you're Venmoing that person for.
Yeah. OSU tickets. Huh?
Yeah. Dude, just be vague on Venmo.
Yeah, emojis only.
Yeah.
Not that I do anything on Venmo, but emojis only.
Emojis or one word.
Yeah. And don't use the tree emoji. We know what you're doing. Okay?
What if you're getting some trees cut down?
The gas emoji is the most foolproof.
Yeah.
Because it could be for gas.
It could be for fuel or for gas.
Exactly.
Top 5 dumbest stories you've ever had to cover or be a part of in college football, because this meets the requirement for dumb ace story.
Yeah,
that I've covered.
Dumb and somewhat absurd. The fact that I'm assuming it was either a Texas fan or someone was just blindly scrolling through this guy's Venmo. It's like, wait a second. What is
That's
this?
why I thought it had to be a troll. Officially, like, who's out here digging through SEC
Scrolling
football
that far.
SEC football fans, that's who. Well, to be honest, it's not like scrolling through a Twitter timeline.
3 years worth of Venmo transactions.
For a college student, probably pretty thick, you think?
I mean, I use Venmo probably once or twice a week. So that's, and that's like average, I feel like. So that's almost 300 Venmo transactions you got to sift through.
OLI. Dumbest story, or craziest story rather, that I have had either the privilege of reading or covering. Outside looking in, Herm Edwards being fired on the field at Arizona State in
was a
front
weird
of
one.
local media cameras was just like, wow, that is crazy. Never seen that happen before. Followed closely by number 5 on my list, Lane Kiffin being left on the tarmac whilst being fired by the USC head coach. I thought that was rather unique. Like, that's only in college football. Hey, buddy, get your own flight home. We're not even going to let you get on the team plane. That was crazy. Number 4, simply put, Sam Pittman's massive hog. Number 3, the Rick Pitino motorcycles sleeping with the assistant story, showing up with a neck brace. College football to a T. Number 2, simply put again, Pole Assassin's monkey biting a child. I mean, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know college football. I repeat again, Pole Assassin's monkey biting a child. That was a real ESPN headline at one point in college football. And number 1, a man going to federal prison for poisoning trees because Cam Newton's jersey got put on Bear Bryant's statue. That was crazy.
That's peak SEC football, peak college football, peak all of it.
We got people Googling Pole Assassin right about now. I would imagine.
I forgot about that. I forgot. As soon as you said that, I was like, oh, wait a minute. But
Should we provide context?
I think we need to.
Okay.
Yes.
There was a Texas special teams coach who was dating, for lack of a better term, a stripper. And the stripper's name was Pole Assassin. The stripper, who is named Pole Assassin, had a monkey.
A pet monkey.
Pet monkey. Who bit a child and then created a lawsuit because of it. This was 2021, by the way. This isn't like 10 decades ago. This is recent.
Honestly, though, having a stripper and naming yourself Pole Assassin and then having a monkey, it's pretty good marketing. Credit to her. She knows what she's doing.
Couldn't go with Candy. Couldn't go with Electra. Had to go with Pole Assassin. Just direct. I think a little too direct right there with the naming.
It's a double entendre, you know.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
See what I'm saying?
Nice.
You think she realized that? Or do you think she
Probably.
just took it for the
I don't
literal?
know.
I would assume
maybe
so.
fell ass backwards into it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Dude, I'm on it right now.
So is she.
Number 5 that I have, Jameis Winston thinking he wasn't suspended anymore.
Oh, my God. Coming out
With
full unity.
his jersey's in the locker room.
Why
He's like,
was he even suspended?
Tell
Tell that story. No.
No, not that time.
Tell that story, J. Will.
Was this the Uber?
No.
I thought that was in Tampa.
No,
This was him screaming in obscenity.
Oh, yeah. This was the time when that guy kept going viral for mixing his
The
way
news
into
channel
news
guy.
channels for effer writing the P.
Yes.
Yes. And then
That
Jameis,
time.
as a Heisman winner that year, went into the cafeteria at FSU and shouted it while standing
Yes,
on a
stood on a
cafeteria
table and did.
Yeah. Then
Insane.
on game day, when he was suspended for the first half, started going through warm-ups with his jersey on. And Jibbo was like,
full uni.
dude, you're not playing. Like, what are you doing?
Like, what are you supposed to be doing?
Number 4, I think the story of Kirby Smart being hired at Georgia is pretty crazy when you consider the fact that he was about to take the South Carolina job had Georgia not fired Mark Richt that morning, because that morning Kirby Smart and his wife were meeting with South Carolina's AD, like basically about to take the job, and then they got the notification that Mark Richt had been fired.
Can you
and
imagine?
It completely changed the direction.
Can you imagine being South Carolina's AD and being like, oh, we're about to get Kirby Smart, things are going well, and you look at Twitter and it's University of Georgia fires Mark Richt. And you're just like,
Why hasn't the person that convinced Greg McGarity to fire Mark Richt taken credit for that?
I don't know.
Because that was nick of time right there.
Oh, yeah.
That
Literally.
person needs to be like held in high esteem.
Yes, they should.
Unless it was Greg McGarity, which he doesn't get a lot of credit.
no, he
Not
does
a lot
not.
of love for him.
Number 3, not that crazy of a story, but crazy just for the fact that Lincoln Riley flexing his cooking on the timeline,
yes.
despite the fact that he can't actually cook.
Did not go well.
That's just funny to me. Number 2, just Johnny Manziel's entire career.
Yeah.
That's just a crazy timeline of events.
I just thought of one.
All right. And then number 1. This was perhaps the most recent one on any of these lists, just, other than John Matier himself. A quarterback at UNLV electing to hold out in the middle of the season,
Yeah.
just to end up at James Madison.
We love it.
Shout out to Matthew
Sitting out
Slucko.
a year to wait out at James Madison. Yeah.
Was like, I'm gonna big ball you guys, and I'm gonna go to James Madison.
I think if you could pick one story that perfectly encapsulates what the last 3 years of college football have been like, that's it.
Yeah.
The UNLV quarterback is sitting out to make more money. And
Who
ends
just transferred from Holy Cross, by the way.
yeah,
Yeah.
and ends up at James Madison.
Yeah, we love that.
All right, my top 5. Number 5, Tennessee throwing golf balls, mustard bottles, anything else you can think of other than normal things you'd bring into a football game at Lane Kiffin.
I'm trying to think. The dude who threw the mustard bottle definitely stole that from the concession stand, right?
Definitely.
You think so?
He wasn't pocketing
You're
mustard.
not just bringing mustard into the stadium, right?
I always thought it was a flask.
No, it was yeah, like a sneaky alcohol
Yeah.
bottle. But I mean, if you're security and you see someone walking in with an industrial
mustard
mustard bottle, you're like, that's got to be alcohol, right?
True.
Just tuck it in the boot.
I don't know. That's the only way I could explain bringing.
I would think he definitely grabbed it from the concession stand.
He's like, you know, it'd be funny.
Dude, they're throwing shit. I gotta get a mustard.
That
bottle.
game was out of hand, right?
Yeah.
There was so if I remember
Or
correctly,
was there a controversy call?
there was a controversial call. Ole Miss had won the game. It was 2021, I believe. Ole Miss had won the game, but there was like a controversial call that really just killed Tennessee's hopes, and Tennessee fans acted accordingly. So very interesting. Number 4, LeGarrette Blount knocked a guy out after a game and then tried to fight a fan.
Cold.
That's one of the most insane like highlight clips. Like one punch dropped the dude.
Yeah.
And then as he's getting walked off the field, shoves
wasn't-
another guy.
It wasn't like he dropped some corner.
No, it was like a linebacker.
D lineman. He was wearing 91. Had a full beard.
Big
He
boy.
dropped a mountain, or I don't know if there's mountains out in Boise State. He dropped a Midwesterner with one strike to the jaw.
Dropped him. Dude,
Slept him.
like bad. So that was kind of fun to watch. I remember being like 9 years old and thinking like, oh my goodness, is this what football's like in college? Number 3, you guys remember like 2 or 3 years ago when the Miami fan caught that cat that fell off like the third row?
Oh yeah.
That was weird. Well, first of all, what's a cat doing in a stadium like that when it's that crowded?
Wow.
How did it find itself in that position? The guy caught it with
Hold on. That crowded? I mean, it was a Miami game.
fair, but there's still 30,000 people in that building.
right.
It's not like it was an empty area. But the guy caught with an American flag. Just an absurd story. Number 2, Hugh Freeze coaching a football game from a hospital bed. The most Hugh Freeze story, like, you know, just dress it all up, make it seem like you're overcoming something crazy. I mean, he was battling some health issues at the time, and he is now, so hope all of those go well for him, but just a weird story.
Top 3 look at me moment.
For sure.
Just, hey, I'm going to get everybody to look at me right quick while I coach this game from this gurney.
And then number 1, the story of all stories, in my opinion, in college football, the most absurd, the most off-field, what in the world is this? It's Manti Te'o, without a doubt. The fake girlfriend, the girlfriend that died, that was fake. That Manti
Does he
Te'o
win the
lied
Heisman
about.
if his girlfriend doesn't be found to be fake?
No, dude, that was a Johnny year. That was Johnny's year, dude.
What a take. I left one out. We all did.
What one?
Do y'all remember getting the video of Baker Mayfield's drunken public arrest?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That was fun.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
I remember having the take of, not as twitchy as you'd like it to be, you know? Not as elusive of an athlete as you'd want.
That video was going platinum on Georgia Twitter after the Rose Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Like platinum. I think it was like every third video, just, you know, Lorenzo Carter to Baker Mayfield tonight, Davin Bellamy, humble yourself, like all of it.
Absolutely. Well, that was a fun segment to start the show tonight. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribing, rating, and reviewing. I know y'all like the shirt, Certified Ball Knower. If you fancy yourself a ball knower, shirts are readily available in the merch store. Link in the bio or description of this video today. Alabama named a starting quarterback. No surprise, I don't think. Ty Simpson going to be the guy. And I'm going to be honest. I got a little rundown on this football player because I think a lot of people are maybe forgetting how highly touted of a football player coming out of high school this guy was. I think to date, especially because of what's happening with the re-ranking system, I still think to this day, Ty Simpson is the highest rated quarterback in the history of the state of Tennessee. Faison Brandon, close second. Like, this is the most highly touted quarterback the state of Tennessee's produced in 25 years.
Faison is not a state of Tennessee prospect.
You're right. So this is it. This is the one. Okay, so this is the highest rated Tennessee quarterback. And now, they're not known for producing elite prospects at the position, but this was a highly touted guy, so 5-star coming out of high school. And I also think people underestimate, rather, the type of athlete that this football player is. AI just confirmed highest rated player, quarterback in the history of Tennessee. I think there's a lot in this eval that I'm always going to love about a quarterback, okay? You guys have listened to this network a lot. There's a lot of things that this guy possesses that I prioritize at the position when I go out and search through a player's background, right? Like, for example, it's a coach's kid. We talk about it all the time. How important is that at the quarterback position? The idea that you see the game, you carry yourself like a coach's child. It is a priority at the position, not a priority, but it is a add-on, it's an additive. If I know you've been around high levels of conversation at the position around the game of football since birth, that's good news. You're not going to come to college and be, oh my God, flabbergasted by high levels of football conversation, okay? High school state champion. That's important. This guy won at a very, very high level in high school, waited his turn and pursued competition, right? This guy sought after competition. That's something we seek for in the position at quarterback, right? Athletic enough to extend plays. Already talked about it. Something we talk about at the position in terms of a necessary requirement nowadays. Hey, how about this one? Chunked it 310 times his senior year in high school, only turned it over 3 times. Protects the football, okay? Completed 64% of his passes, I think, for like an average of 15, 16 yards per attempt, okay? So driving the ball downfield accurately, not turning it over. Those are all good things that we want. Now, is this guy physically limited? Yeah, I think so. He's 6'2", he's 215 pounds. He's not the most gifted thrower of the football, but he has a lot of things that I look for in a quarterback that I approve of, all right, that I'm seeking for in the position. Also, we've already talked about it on this network ad nauseum, I feel like, at this point this offseason. Far more comfortable of a type of quarterback for Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb than even what Jalen Milroe was. That was such a foreign thing for them last year.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about he has all the things that you look for in a quarterback. He's certainly got all the things that Kalen DeBoer looks for in a quarterback, and I think that's what's going to make him, such a good player, that he fits perfectly into this system, or at least Kalen DeBoer will have a much easier time molding a system around him as opposed to a guy in Jalen Milroe who is freakishly athletic but was rather inconsistent with accuracy, might have had trouble reading defenses, things like that. So it's certainly, he has a high ceiling, and Kalen DeBoer certainly raises that for him. It'll be interesting to see just where the physical limitations are and how much they limit him.
Yeah, certainly limited a little bit, but I do think he's a good enough athlete to kind of overcome some of those things. Like, by no means is he a dual threat type of quarterback, but I think he's a good enough athlete that he can at least maneuver around the pocket a good bit and keep you a little honest, at least, from operating there. Also, as of right now, Jared Curtis is rated higher than Ty Simpson was coming out of high school. Curtis. It's probably not official because he has not officially gotten into college, but as of now, he is rated higher than him.
that highest rated quarterback ever in the state will soon be broken.
Yes.
And we all believe Jared Curtis to be a better prospect than Ty Simpson was coming out of high school. At least that's my opinion. I don't know how Alabama fans feel listening to this today, but I think you would agree. I think it's a 3,800-yard passer in this offense.
Yeah, but I mean, going back to the athleticism and the things like that, it's not just him as the quarterback. I think it's going to be the weapons around him and how
well surrounded.
Yeah, like we talk about. I think there's a perfect example of this that happened 5 years ago. Mac Jones ended up not exactly being one of these great quarterbacks. We saw his NFL career didn't necessarily pan out. Took him a bunch of years to earn a start at Alabama, but when he did, the wide receiver room around him was so damn good it made him a Heisman finalist. So there's absolutely this avenue for Ty Simpson.
Is he the draft pick that got Bill Belichick fired? We'll debate coming up next. I'm just kidding.
Question on the Ty Simpson, though, because as we know, they're the offense is going to change because of who they have at quarterback, and also they bring Ryan Grubb back. Was Ty Simpson able to put in 2 years of working on this offense?
No. Now, formationally, terminology-wise, yeah. There's no new words he's having to learn. But I guarantee you he was having to take 2's reps in whatever offense they created for Jalen Milroe last year. When they were taking backup reps, and by the way, if you're a fan listening to this that's never played college football before, if there's 100 reps available at practice on any given Tuesday during the season, 90 of those 100 reps are going to the starter. The last 10 are going to the backup, and he's in there trying to makeshift his way through reps that were prepared for the starter. That's normally how it works at this position. Okay, so you're right. He was developing in a system that was not created for him last year, and he's had about 8 months to develop in the system that is made for him and tailored for him. And by the way, tailored for the rest of the guys. All right, I think they're all very similar styles of prospects at the position. They're going to win very similarly moving forward at Alabama at the quarterback position.
My question for him is, how long is this leash? Because we talked about it.
We don't know how good Austin Mack is.
Right, but there was a highly, I don't know if you could say highly covered, but there was a quarterback battle that went down this year, and people seem high on Keelan Russell, and there's a lot of hype around that freshman. So how many mistakes do you make, or how many bad throws? Because we see it firsthand in this fan base of, if something goes wrong, it's immediately, I need to see the other guy. So
you guys, the fan base probably rooting for Keelan Russell. It's very obvious to me, based off all the decisions that they have asked Austin Mack to make. This coaching staff really believes in that football player, right? Dating back to his high school days, they had Austin Mack reclass a year early to get to Washington in time. Okay, they leave Washington. Guess who they bring with them down to Alabama? Austin Mack. So they have asked Austin Mack to do a lot of things for this coaching staff that you would imagine is being reciprocated with belief in that prospect, belief in that football player. That's why I mentioned him right there as the number 2. I think Keelan Russell is going to be the future, though. That's my last note on this quarterback room is somebody's hitting the portal in December.
For sure.
Somebody's out of this room soon. It's just a matter of who's it going to be. I think it ultimately ends up probably being Austin Mack.
Probably so.
Unfortunately. For him. By the way, I mentioned that someone's going to leave because have you seen this recent stat? This is from The Athletic, guys. 81% of the 2022 quarterback class is on a different roster than the one they signed on.
I think that's just the product of, why do I need to wait more than 1 year to start? And you look at, we talked about it, COVID, injuries, redshirt, and I know we're nearing the end of COVID eligibility, but there's still guys that were lingering from the 2022 class that you had these super seniors, you had these guys that were already starters. Like, you look around, a lot of these highly rated, highly touted quarterbacks looked and said, it's going to be before my junior year before I even start. Unless I go over here, this team that's going to pay me more, going to provide me more of an opportunity to start, why not do it? So it makes sense.
And a lot of these guys are you're right. They were not going to start at the place they were at or left for some unknown reason. Alabama has 3 guys that are set and projected to start at legitimate Power 4 football programs this season. Julian Sayin, Dylan Lonergan, and Eli Holstein. Lonergan and Holstein signed in the same high school class. Neither of them started a football game for Alabama. They're both going to be starters this year. One at Boston College, one at Pitt. Texas A&M's got like 5 of these guys. Dating back to Haynes King. Haynes King's going to start at Georgia Tech this year. Obviously, Connor Weigman's going to start at Houston this year. Zach Calzada probably going to start at Kentucky this year. The big tall athletic quarterback they had last year probably going to start at West Virginia this year. Like, they got a lot of dudes and it's just getting dispersed everywhere.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you look at it, Alabama, Texas A&M, those are 2 schools that went through coaching changes within the last 5 years, so that also adds to it. But I think that it's 2 things. Not getting playing time, or you did get playing time and it very quickly was apparent it's not going to work out here. Like Connor Weigman, Zach Calzada, guys like that, where you got your shot and it's very obvious. Like Jackson Arnold's another one of these.
Oh, I forgot. Max Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Max Johnson's at North Carolina.
Forgot about that.
I don't think
one.
he's going to start.
No, I don't think
the
he will
USA
either.
kid's going to start.
Didn't he have a pretty bad injury, though?
Yeah. Like almost had to get his leg cut off.
Yeah.
Bad.
I remember it was a pretty significant injury.
Yeah. Just an interesting talking point. The idea that you're going to hold on to backup quarterbacks nowadays is just... It's not likely. It's not likely at all. I had a film study go up today. It's doing pretty decent numbers right about now. Took a look at Texas A&M's offense, and I legitimately think now they finished second in the league in rushing last year, only behind Tennessee. And we know, at least we know, I don't know about the rest of the world, we know how special Dylan Sampson was. We know how dedicated that system at Tennessee is to running the football. I expect Tennessee to run the football again this year. As long as Heupel's there, they're going to run it effectively based off the system. That being said, I think A&M's got a legitimate shot to be like the best rushing attack in this conference. I'm not going to say by a wide margin, but by a significant margin on paper, at least projecting what's, I think, going to happen. First of all, they returned, I think, 5 starters. I think they returned 5 of the top 7 offensive linemen from a year ago on this roster. All right, so they got a lot of returning good quality depth. They ran it really well last year, return everybody. But not only that, this is the first time that they've actually been like going into an offseason with Marcel Reed as their quarterback, and even going into a season with one quarterback. Last year, we talked about it. At one game, trying to design an offense for Connor Weigman. The next game, trying to design an offense for Marcel Reed. Then going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This year, it's going to be the Marcel Reed show, and I think it's going to feature a really, really heavy RPO system that is going to be dynamic in the rushing attack. Let's talk about the depth first and foremost at the running back position A&M's got. We talk about it nowadays in college football. This type of room is very, very rare. I know Notre Dame's deep. I know Penn State's deep. I know Texas has got a couple of guys. But here we go. Le'Veon Moss, really good football player. We all know that. Reuben Owens, 5-star out of high school. Really good football player. Hey, how about Emmitt Smith Jr. still on this roster out there at A&M as well? And if you've watched his tape, damn good football player. They got 3 really, really good backs. Let's talk about Moss, who's going to be their featured back, all right? I love flashy backs. I love exceptional cuts on tape. I'm all about it, all right? But I am here for disciplined and boring backs, all right? I am here for backs who, if I give you the football, I know we're not going to create a negative trying to chase an explosive. I know if there's 7 yards to be had, you're going to get 9. I don't have to worry about you doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. You're going to trust the system. You're going to trust the keys. You're going to trust everything that's in front of you, because what we got in front of you is really damn good this year at A&M. I love that about him. In fact, if he is bouncing a play, it's because he's pressed the gap so long and has just no options. Now we have to bounce. And you saw it on tape today, Jonathan. He's so patient in doing so that 9 times out of 10, the damn safety's ran himself out of the play because he's ran up into the box so fast. And now we bounce and we got the angle on the safety. It's really, really fun to watch. Now, the real reason, by the way, the boring back thing, you're going to hear that coming up on our film studies about some of these backs. It's not a slight. It is not. I think the all-time leading rusher in the NFL history is a boring back. How many Emmitt Smith highlights you watch?
Not many.
How many Emmitt Smith highlights?
I didn't grow up during that era, but I haven't seen a ton.
But when we talk about the greatest backs of all time, y'all rattle off 6 or 7 names before you talk about the guy who actually holds the record for rushing yardage. And why? Because he was a boring back. He did, and everything he was supposed to, read the keys the right way. I think this guy's the same exact way at the running back position. Now, the real reason I have them as the number 1 on paper going into the season, think they're going to lead the league in rushing, is because of Marcel Reed. And you saw it again today on the film study. I don't want this guy being a 12 carries for 84-yard attempt guy in the running game. I don't want him taking that many totes. I don't want him having that many design carries. However, when he pulls the ball, this guy's an opportunity for an explosive every single time. We saw his ability to make people miss, his ability to run away from defenders. Marcel Reed's going to have 1 or 2 40-yard explosives every single game. And if we can get that out of him, we will lead the league in rushing.
I've become more and more bullish on Texas A&M's offense this year, outside of the questions at wide receiver for them, because the offensive line, as you mentioned, is a sure thing. It feels like quarterback seems like something that's going to continue to grow into, and then you add in they're going to have a very dynamic run game, and a run game that can hit you at any moment and create an explosive. Whether it is Marcel Reed carrying the ball or if it's Le'Veon Moss, they're going to be so sound running the football that I think everything else is going to take care of itself in the passing game.
Yeah, I mean, you listen to defensive coordinators all the time talk about, plus ones and evening count. When you have a quarterback that at the very least is a threat to run the ball, I'm not talking about a guy that's going to carry the ball 20 times a game, but is a threat, it adds 1 more to your count for defense, which subtracts 1 that you can actually have to get the ball carrier. So it's like we said, simple math, and it makes sense as to why Texas A&M has this advantage.
Absolutely. Excited to see what they do this year offensively. And really, I'm going to call it year 1 of Colin Klein. Like, I'm chopping last year up. I like to chop first year coordinator performances up for the most part, but last year with the situation at quarterback, I don't think it's a true read of what that guy's ultimately going to be. We saw it at K-State. Like, when he was an OC at K-State, they did a lot of explosive stuff in the run game before, Will Howard left and he left. Let's move on. I've gotten some feedback on our running back rankings. We released those yesterday, talked about them on the show last night, and the general consensus is I had one notable omission, Jaden Baugh out of Florida. We've talked about it. I think I have done enough loving up on Jaden Baugh, but Florida fans don't see him on the top 10, so they want to come with smoke. I understand it. I think he's going to be great this year. I think Florida's going to run the football really, really well. Demond Claymore out of Wake Forest is another name that we missed. I think it's a notable omission. A young kid, I believe, out there. We'll see how much longer he stays at Wake Forest. We'll probably be talking about him at one of these national title contenders pretty soon. No offense, Wake Forest. By the way, do you know who Wake Forest's quarterback is?
You told me pre-show, so I'm not.
Robbie Ashford.
Good for Robbie.
Yeah. Is school 4 for Robbie?
Auburn, South Carolina, and now there.
So school 3. So yeah, those are the only notable omissions. The rest of the comments were basically, you don't have my guy rated high enough, which we understand that. Now, names that I think by the end of the year will be in that discussion: CJ Baxter at Texas, James Peoples at Ohio State, just because. Who's going to see lighter boxes this year than James Peoples at Ohio State?
Fair.
So I would imagine there's going to be some success there. How about Justice Haynes at Michigan? Is he going to do something?
He's going to have to for them.
He's got the potential to do it. I don't think that.
Probably going to see some heavy boxes.
Yeah, but at the same time, like Bryce Underwood, if he is an athlete that people think he will be, might kind of help out with that.
Senior.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Man, I'd be drafting that guy. That's loyalty.
Yeah, it is. No kidding. No offense to Wake Forest, but.
That's the Ricky White of running backs right there.
Mm-hmm.
Which Ricky ended up being a 3rd-round draft pick, right? 4th-round draft pick?
Still.
Pretty good. But probably could have made $1.5 million last year in the portal.
Most def.
So there's that. Random question. Are we cool with Harold Perkins playing star? Did you see this comment today?
In situations, I get it. His athleticism does provide you kind of the opportunity to run sort of a pseudo 4-3, which is essentially just what the star position morphed into, where we're taking that 3rd linebacker, making him the guy that can run but still fill the box if we need him to. That's kind of what Harold Perkins is, but I don't necessarily know that. You tell me, you've watched more film on him. What does his ability to cover and run look like?
All right, so my lab just got messed up, but give me 1 second.
Okay. So
I don't like this just off the fact that he had a great true freshman season. In the last 2 years, it feels like we've been trying to get him back into being that star defensive player role, and now you're going to put him at a position where it's like, this is a really difficult position to play. Let's go try it out for you. Like, I understand he's a great athlete, and Harold Perkins would probably be just like do okay there, but I just don't like the idea of like we're going to try and turn one of our best defensive players into something just because we think he's really great.
All right, so this is a really good opportunity for this show to separate itself. All right, you're going to see a lot of takes about Harold Perkins, I would imagine. This is my concern. Okay, what Kirby talked about, this traditional 4-3 setup, right? Personnel is what we call it. This idea of playing base personnel, playing 4 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, and 4 defensive backs. It just doesn't happen in college football or really football anymore. Base personnel nowadays is nickel defense, okay? Meaning we have a nickel back on the field. We have 5
turn that thing on.
Defensive backs. Start this over. All right, so what Kirby was alluding to is the idea, and we've been talking about it on this network for I feel like 4 years now. The outside linebacker position does not exist, okay? You're either an edge rusher or you're an inside linebacker. You're either a stand-up pass rusher or you're an inside linebacker. There is no hybrid extended box outside linebacker anymore, and here is why, okay? Every football team realized a long time ago, all right, that we can stress these bodies, no matter who they are. All right, I know Harold Perkins is an elite athlete. He's 6'2", 220 pounds. I'm sure he's a 4.5 runner. He's a great space player. He's really, really fluid. We all know that, all right? But he's not the only freak athlete at 6'2", 220 to have existed in college football the last 10 years. The reason this has moved to nickel is because what I'm about to show you. When you're in 2x2 situations, I have no fear of this being a linebacker, okay? And I can do all the things that Blake Baker's talking about. I can blitz him, right? I can add him into the run fit. I can do whatever. I can make him a hybrid player. He's comfortable enough to drop and get under number 2. We can do all that good stuff, all right? And not to mention, we've got safety help. He's capped, right? We have a safety help over the top of him right now, all right? But I guarantee you, I know what offenses are going to do the moment they see 4-3 personnel against 11 personnel, meaning I have 3 wide receivers on the field and 1 tight end, all right? I know what they're going to do. They're going to put you in 3-by-1. They're going to take you, all right, and they're going to put that tight end over here, right? They're going to put the Z in the slot over here. They're going to put the X on the backside, all right? And now this star player is over here with not really much help, all right? And he's responsible for covering number 3. Now, why did everyone start throwing nickels here? Well, everybody knows what's happening to these tight ends nowadays in college football and in football in general. These guys are freaks. These guys are 6'5", 235 pounds. They've been playing 7-on-7 since they were 12. They're really, really athletic. They're great route runners, all right? So all of these outside linebackers, all of them have been replaced with a nickel, all right, that can go run and cover those guys. So I worry about teams seeing this personnel package and immediately getting light. All right, we'll play it 3-by-1 and we're going to make Harold Perkins run with number 3. And it's just, again, if you have one of 2 theories here. Either Harold Perkins is the only human being over the last 10 years to be able to do this, or everyone else is playing defense the correct way nowadays with nickels on the field. Which one are you more likely to believe in? Probably the latter. Now, if you're playing a 12 personnel football team, none of this matters. If you're playing Texas A&M every single week, Harold Perkins and 2 other linebackers are going to be on the field. So the whole idea of playing outside linebacker body types or inside linebacker body types as a pseudo star, which is all he's talking about. It's a star is just a modern day outside linebacker that we've replaced with nickels. It's just weird to me.
Would this raise any more concerns to you about the secondary? Like
maybe they don't have 5 good ones.
Yeah, like the fact that it's like, well, maybe our really athletic linebacker can do this job and not one of our secondary players that we're not ready to play yet.
I think it's that, or it could be the avenue that defensive coordinators within LSU and the coaches there are just like, look, we have to find some way to get Harold Perkins on the field. He doesn't necessarily fit the off-ball linebacker position that we need him to. He's not exactly an edge rusher. We need him somewhere. We have to figure out some way. Let's see if we can manufacture him in this star position, and that might be where they're trying to force him in a square peg in a round hole necessarily, because this is the 3rd position change for Harold Perkins.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue he was doing a lot of this 2 years ago.
He was. But,
I would argue.
But 2 years ago, well, that's...
3 years ago, he was a situational pass rusher as a true freshman and was an elite edge rusher.
Yep.
The sophomore year, they were like, hey, let's play you as an extended box player in this hybrid. Wasn't it Rick Pitino? Wasn't he their defensive coordinator for a little bit?
Something like that.
Either way, let's play you in this hybrid defensive role that we're trying to play you in now. And then last year, it was let's try to make you an in-box linebacker.
Well, he got injured last year.
I know.
But I mean, there's been he's obviously extremely athletic and extremely gifted. It seems like they don't know where to put him, and now it's kind of like, well, we'll just put him at the star position and hope this goes great. And they're not going to say that things aren't going great in preseason.
It could be a Harold Perkins thing, not a coaching staff thing, by the way.
That also could be. It could be
we just don't know what to do with him.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying.
We haven't figured out what he's best at. Could be that.
I mean, I don't want to get too much into the Georgia side, but this is exactly the situation that Georgia was in with Jalen Walker last year. It just so happened they were able to balance it out perfectly for him.
Who was the defensive coordinator before Blake Baker?
Bobby. Were you thinking of Bobby Petrino?
No. I'm pretty sure the former head coach in Nebraska.
Oh, you're thinking of Bo Pelini. That was Ed Orgeron.
Rick
Pitino's a head basketball coach.
That was Ed Orgeron.
Was that just mixing up Italian-sounding names?
I think so.
Is that what my CTE brain was doing?
Ed Orgeron hired Bo Pelini in 2020 or 2021.
And got smoked by Costello.
Yeah.
Week 1. And then, who was it before Blake Baker? We should know this. What do you got, AI? Matt House. Cool. I thought that was a fun conversation. It's just how I would stress a 4-3 football team is very obvious. Get in 3-by-1, they're cooked. Kirby, I'm gonna let you read this Lincoln Riley quote because, man, This is, I'm okay with, no, I'm not. I think it lacks self-awareness.
Yeah.
When you're a head football coach, you have to understand that everything you say is under a microscope. And when you speak, you have to understand, you have to do the math. You have to think of every avenue that this comment could be taken. And when you say stuff like this, there's only one way for you to be taken, is you be ducking smoke.
Yeah.
Read this comment.
So to preface it before we get too far into it, a couple months ago, there was the notion that USC was toying with, no longer continuing the Notre Dame USC annual rivalry match. And of course, that put up a bunch of college football traditionalists up in arms of how you can't do this. This is tradition. So Lincoln Riley was asked about it recently, and this is the quote that he delivered. It's a unique position to be in because you feel loyal to the history and to all that you also feel loyalty to USC and doing the best thing we can to help us win the national championship. So hopefully that's a position we don't get put in.
He continued, he was asked if it should be left on the schedule, and he said, no question it should. It's just at the end of the day, are you going to have a human that's going to sit there and going to put it in whatever, a 9-3 team over an 11-1 team? Basically saying is a 9-3 team going to go over an 11-1 team? No, the 11-1 team is going to go over. It's just recent history says that they're not going to do that. We can go through all these factors, strength of schedule and points allowed and all this, but at the end of the day, the number one thing that everybody sees is the record. And as a human, you can always fall back on, well, this team won 11 games and this team won 9. All that right there says is, I'm just trying to make sure we win a lot of games because that's all they care about. And Notre Dame is a potential loss for me. Again, there's no way anybody other than a USC fan interprets that other than, damn, Lincoln just told us he really was ducking smoke.
He really does not want to play Notre Dame is what it sounds like.
Yeah, and Lincoln Riley has had a lot of stigma around him of, as soon as he heard that Oklahoma was going to the SEC, he avoided that and traveled out to USC and then all. There's constantly been this modest opinion about Lincoln Riley that he is always ducking competition. He's always trying to take the path of least resistance. You have to be aware of that when you give that comment. And yes, I do understand it. Logically speaking, why would you add a Notre Dame team that has gotten very, very good in the last few years to your schedule, or keep it on the schedule when you can trade that, especially when you're traveling as a Big Ten team now that's located in California? It all makes sense logistically, but to say, why would we make our schedule harder? It's so tone deaf.
I think I would just respected him more off if he'd have just been like, hey, I've been listening to this Brooks Austin guy. He made a great point. We should all just boycott Notre Dame. That's what we should do.
Well, that's what I was going to ask is,
I'll play you when you get into a conference. That's what I'll do.
This would kind of hurt Notre Dame's schedule even more if they got USC taken off of it. Well, one, because now you're having to scramble for another opponent to put on the schedule, but two, this is one of the games every single year annually that everybody says well, they play USC at least. Those two teams are going to play. So it's one of the more formidable opponents that they're going to play this season. But if USC were to take it off the schedule, not only does that kind of put a bad look on USC, but it kind of puts Notre Dame in a bad position. But it ultimately wouldn't matter because I don't think it really matters who Notre Dame schedules because it's Notre Dame.
It's been my take for a while. I'm mad at Steve Sarkisian in Texas. Why y'all helping them out? They get to walk to a top 12 ranking every year. Why y'all helping them? Don't do that. Mm-hmm. That would be my approach to this. But as a head football coach, you can't say that. You got to say, I got to win 11 games instead of going 9-3 with a tough schedule.
Yeah, especially a guy like Lincoln Riley where the pressure is mounting there, and it has been for a while. Get Notre Dame off of my schedule. Give me the easiest path to 10 or 11 wins as possible because it might cost me my job otherwise.
All right, time for ACC predictions.
Let's do it.
It's our last Power 4 conference, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I can't believe we got to the Big 12 before the ACC. That's on us.
Sad.
All right, let's do it.
Are we going to do G5 predictions?
Hell no, dude.
Y'all suck.
You grinding G5 tape, dog?
Apparently nobody else is.
Shocker. Jonathan wants to tell us how good Toledo is for the 17th time this offseason.
Okay. I'm going to turn this into a legitimate segment, and I'm going to spread ball knowledge.
Buddy, I'll let you cook. Hell, if you want to spend 12 minutes talking Maction, I'll let you.
These are playoff contenders, and we're just going to act like they don't exist? We shouldn't be knowing who they are?
Playoff contenders by everyone has to get invited.
Can we make this consolation? We don't have to care or talk about the group of 5 until they win one playoff game.
Ooh,
that's all.
I like this.
That's all they have to do. One playoff game,
or have a Heisman contender.
Well, they had that last year.
No. That's what I'm saying. The only reason we ever have to talk about a non-P4 on this network is if you have a Heisman contender or you win a playoff game.
I'm just a little.
I like this.
I'm just a little offended that you guys are just like disassociating yourselves from action.
I'm not disassociating myself.
No, you don't care. That's fine.
It holds
No,
a very
you don't
special
care.
place in my heart.
You don't care.
But as far when
You
we
don't
talk
care.
about national rankings and giving time
You
to
don't
that
care.
on a
All he's
national
saying,
show,
Jonathan, is we're not going to spend a 12-minute to 15-minute segment on predicting non.
Well, good. You don't have to. You can kick your feet up for all I care.
Okay.
I'll figure it out myself.
Y'all heard it here first. Tomorrow night at 8:45, 15 minutes solid on non-P4 predictions from J. Will and J. Will only. We're going to kick our feet up. Okay.
Please do.
Buddy, we're going to be useless tomorrow here on the writing front because he's going to be spending all day researching Max.
Have I ever been useless there?
Yeah, you're right. No, yeah.
No.
No. The answer is no.
I'll make sure it happens, though.
Who are the contenders in the ACC?
So it's weird. There's 3 teams I feel like that are like, yes, you're at the top. And then there's a fringe line of like, are they contenders or are they just spoilers? So the 3 I think we all can agree on: Miami, SMU, Clemson. Do we all have those 3?
I don't have SMU as a contender.
I mean, they went last year.
know.
The talent wise, at least, is
They're like on the. They're the last team I listed in contenders.
okay.
We don't think that was a schedule blip of the radar.
I mean, very well could have been, but I do think like
our possibility.
do think that Kevin Jennings is one of the better quarterbacks in this conference.
Correct.
I think that this offense will be one of the better offenses in this conference.
That's fair.
So I mean, they're up there. They're definitely up there. But I have with a bunch of exclamation points: Syracuse ? And Duke
As contenders?
possibly.
I don't think Syracuse is ready to reband again.
No.
I don't know about that, and they have a lot. There's a lot of
question marks there.
There's a lot of question marks there, but there's also a lot of opportunity. And with what we saw with Fran Brown last year in year 1, like the assumption that if they get even just a little bit better in year 2,
I think this is the thickest spoilers group of any conference we've broken down.
definitely.
I think most of the conference resides in they're good enough to beat one of the good teams or one of the contending teams every single week, right? Like I put Syracuse in this mix. I put Duke and SMU in this mix. I put Louisville in this mix. I don't think Louisville might wake up on Saturday of championship weekend and be in that ACC championship game. I'm not picking them preseason. Boston College. I think with Dylan Lonergan and Bill O'Brien as a head football coach, that's a 7-5 football team. I don't know how they're getting to 7 wins, but they're going to figure out a way to be bowl eligible, I think, by the end of the year. Are they good enough to compete in the conference? No, I don't think so. North Carolina's going to get somebody this year. Now, they don't play nobody. That's the thing. They might get 9 wins off of the schedule alone. So there's that. NC State had a really, really promising young quarterback last year, which means they might get you this year in a spoiler opportunity.
They were really bad last year.
They were.
So I have them on the fringe of spoiler might be bottom of the barrel.
Georgia Tech's in this mix for a spoiler for me.
For sure.
Vodtech stays in this mix.
For sure.
Yeah, especially with Kyron Drones coming back. I know he didn't have a great year, but the experience there alone.
Pitt stays in this mix for me. As long as Narduzzi's there, I'm like, the floor is 7 wins.
8-4.
Yeah, 8-4. Scrappy. Top 25 into the year, maybe.
I look at the ACC as a more respectable version of the Big 12.
Yeah.
And you know, I hate to do that, and I hate to disassociate all the Big 12 fans we have there, but
Loads of them.
You look at the teams up and down on there. They're a little bit more talented. They're a little bit more skilled. They're a little bit more. I don't know what it is. It just feels like it's a more respectable, more reputable brand of football.
It was my take, man. The ACC is a much deeper conference with real, what I call football programs than the Big 12, I think.
I totally agree, and I think there's a little bit more history there as well.
Like there's not a Clemson in the ACC. Now Arizona State
In the Big
is
12.
trying to, or the Big 12. Arizona State is trying to be that. Utah would have been that had they kept the success from the Pac-12 transitioned over to the Big 12. Do y'all remember that? We went through the offseason last year thinking, oh, this is Utah's conference.
It's just
now.
Utah.
It's Utah's conference. And it is not Utah's conference.
The team that was the most physical in the Pac-12 was just going to go over to the Big 12 and just
Well,
bully
Cam
everyone.
Rising's 10th year of eligibility didn't go to plan, okay?
That's true. Who's the bottom of the barrel in this conference?
It's Wake Forest, it's Cal, Stanford, and I put Virginia there.
We got the same 4.
Cal and Stanford need to get out of that conference.
Yeah, I think they're gonna. Hey, breaking news. What is it? August 12th, 2025. 7 months from now, some other national show or national website will tell you that Stanford and Cal are going back to the Pac-12. I told you that first right here, August 12th. There you go. Oregon State's going back 2. Washington State's going back 2. They already have.
Nobody placed Florida State anywhere because I didn't.
So
I put them in spoilers.
I put them in spoilers because
and shouldn't be there, by the way.
I think they're just a no-name. I don't think they're going to be as bad as they were last year. I don't really see them as being a spoiler this season, and they're certainly not a contender. I think that they're just somewhere in the middle of bottom of the barrel and spoiler.
At Florida State,
just mediocre.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. At Florida State's worst in the Willie Taggart era, in the early years of the Mike Norvell era, they were bad, but they weren't 2-10 bad. They were still, hey, it's still Florida State. They still have a lot of talent on that roster. Be careful of them. We are just 2 seasons removed from that team almost going to the playoff, going 13-0 all the way through the conference. I don't know if they are bottom of the barrel just yet. I don't think you can sink that fast based on where they were. But again, I don't necessarily trust them to spoil a team's season this year. So I think that they're kind of on that fringe line.
I feel like a spoil for them would be they beat UNC or whoever on their schedule is.
Alabama.
They just bought such bad groceries again.
It's just reused everything,
buddy. They got we already done the take. I mean, they got a lot. Here's who they added. They go out. They had to rebuild an entire roster from a 2-10 season last year. They've got 30 orange names on this R, lads. I mean, half this roster's brand freaking new from a bad team last year, and we've already gone through it. The Thomas Castellanos thing didn't work at Boston College, so you're hoping it's going to work at Florida State. Does anyone think the Deuce Robinson thing worked at USC at the rate that it was supposed to? I don't think anybody would agree there. Squirrel White had a better freshman year than he did sophomore and junior year. It didn't work there at Tennessee. So, you're getting a bunch of, a Vandy offensive tackle that was running the wishbone last year is now at Florida State. And I don't know. Why do we think this is going? Is anybody expecting this to turn around immediately?
My whole thing with Florida State too is this year I can kind of justify them getting Thomas Castellanos, because why would you go spend a whole bunch of money on a quarterback when the rest of your roster probably isn't up to standard? That makes no sense. But the bigger bone to pick would be last season you choosing to go and buy DJU of all the transfer quarterbacks when DJU was just okay at Oregon State.
Especially
it wasn't anything fantastic, wasn't anything flashy.
And the total opposite stylistically to anything you've ever done.
Yeah, and then, by the way, another guy named Cam Ward went to your state in that conference and almost won the Heisman and became the number 1 overall pick. Bad look.
Yeah. I mean, they did give 800 racks to Castellanos this year. Mm-hmm. So, it's bargain bin shopping. By the way, a starting power 4 quarterback, north of $1 million. Most of the time.
Did you see Mike Norvell's comments about the Alabama game?
Those aren't real.
You don't think so?
I turned down that job. That's a fake quote.
I mean,
that's got to be a fake.
I scrolled past. It was
he would never.
I didn't do it. There's a reason I turned down that job.
That was the fake quote.
Yeah.
There's a reason I turned down that Alabama job. We finna smoke that ass.
I don't think he said that.
I mean, you bought the first part. You didn't buy the second part.
Look, I scrolled past it, and going off of what Thomas Castellanos was doing earlier this season, it's not that far fetched to believe that the coach was also adding in.
It's just, it goes back to say, I think what I learned from this whole entire experience is that when the signs are there, pay attention to them. Okay, and here's what I mean: when that whole opt-out situation had happened down there at Florida State, we asked Mike Norvell, the media asked Mike Norvell over and over again, hey, what's this say about your football team? You're opting out. And he said that he gave them the speech. He gave them the talking points of every day is an opportunity, yada, 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 yada. And nobody listened. Everybody just tapped out. And he was completely disconnected with his football team. His best football team, completely disconnected. So much so that he thought he could go spend 5 days, 6 days recruiting before their bowl game after they got snuffed in the playoff. Comes back home, his whole roster's destroyed. And he's like, wait a minute. Why'd nobody tell me this was going to happen? How'd you not know? That was the first sign of, this guy's not very connected to his football players.
No. It reminds me of that Community meme when Donald Glover walks in with the pizza box and everything's on fire. That's what Mike Norvell was coming back from that trip. But it's going to be very interesting to see if this team can turn it around. Because what does turning it around look like? 7-5?
Yeah.
That's 5 more wins than last year.
But, I mean, at the very least, it does seem like they're doing the right things to turn it around. I mean, they have a top 20 recruiting class this year. So as long as they hold on to all those players, it'll probably take a little bit more time. But, I mean, it at least looks like there's some light at the end of the tunnel. But this year, I really don't expect them to be much different than what they were last year.
Hey, you notice there's a very specific coach that's stumbled into some money and figured out some recruiting momentum. You seen it? Auburn's landed a couple of chippers lately. Yeah, Auburn gonna get that money. They're gonna fund that recruiting class back up now, I would imagine. All right, let's continue our ACC predictions. Who's in the championship game? All right, actually, let's do most important players. Who's the most important player in this conference? I think there's a unanimous answer. It should be. If Clemson can't run the football, they're cooked.
I have two answers.
For that reason alone, Adam Randall might be the most important player.
Adam Randall and Gideon Davidson. If those two cannot accelerate your running game, like we talk about how great Clemson's going to be, and their defensive line is a stonewall, and absolutely it is. But if you guys can't run the football and Cade Klubnik has to do everything for you, we think those wide receiver weapons are good. They're not Alabama or Ohio State game-breaking good, so you need a supplemental run game. If you don't have that because your room is just tarnished, that might spell trouble for Clemson, so they're very important. Carson Beck and his weapons is an obvious choice. If that Miami team is going to be anything, it's because Carson Beck helps them do that. Kyron Jones, I think if he accelerates this year, Virginia Tech's going to cause a lot of problems. And my number 4, Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson.
I had Miami wide receivers. I think that they're way more important than what Carson Beck is almost to that, because I think that if the wide receivers aren't good, it's not going to matter what Carson Beck is. It won't even
we know that firsthand.
Carson Beck could be the greatest version of himself, but if the wide receivers are not up to the standard, then it's just not even going to matter at all. I also have Kevin Jennings in this mix as well, just because, I mean, that is the offense for them, and if he can avoid catastrophic mistakes, I think there's a good chance that SMU ends up back in the conference championship. But then also Thomas Castellanos is one of the most important players in my opinion.
I pulled a bait and switch on y'all. I left the team I think is going to the ACC championship game off of my contenders list.
Okay.
You put Louisville?
No.
Duke.
I'm buying the Dukies this year. Buying the Dukies. I think their schedule's relatively tough, but it's out of conference tough, right? Drew Tulane, Drew Syracuse, or Illinois. Pretty tough out of conference for an ACC football team. They do play Clemson. That's a game I think they're going to be, an underdog in. But I think they're going to be a favorite in most of their ACC football games. And I am a Darian Mensah believer. I think Darian Mensah going to have people out here talking about him in first-round conversations towards the end of the year.
Duke is like the Illinois of the ACC, only they're going to have a better quarterback this year.
I don't want to say much.
Not much.
I think Darian Mensah is an NFL quarterback. When the $2.5 million a year number got thrown out, I think everybody at that, and then I watched the film and I was like, oh, no, that's a guy. So I think he's gonna be really good. And they were a 9-win football team last year.
For my championship matchup, I put it as Clemson SMU. I did. I don't trust Miami going into this year. I don't really trust Louisville as much as I want to get into a conference championship game. So SMU to me felt like the safer bet out of all that bunch, at least today. Like sitting here in the preseason, I feel more confident in SMU getting back to that game and Clemson getting back to that game than any of the other teams.
It came down, obviously I picked Clemson for one of them. It came down to Miami, Louisville, or SMU. And at the end of the day, like Jay Will said, there's a lot that I don't trust about Miami. There's a lot of volatility there. I don't know. I went with Louisville because I thought about it. The last 5 or 6 years in the ACC, it's always been mid-November and you look up and you go, Louisville's 8-2. They have a chance to clinch the ACC title. Oh, Louisville's, a top 15 team. They always hover around that spot. I presume they'll do it this year, and, maybe something will shake that allows for them to go back. I pick Louisville for that.
We all got Clemson winning the conference.
Yeah.
All right. Clemson wins the ACC in 2025, unless they can't run the football, which means they might get snuck up on. But only
I'll tell you right now, they'll get snuck up.
You think so? Well, they normally do. Historically, Dabo's going to give up one of these.
They get snuck up on, and they play 2 ranked SEC teams this year.
Hate to see it.
Don't tell me that that's a guaranteed playoff team, everyone. That's all I'm saying.
Another Clemson shot. I mean, we can't get out of an hour of national college football talk without taking cross.
That's the first one in like 3 days. What are you talking about?
3 days.
Why are you defending Clemson so much?
I'm not. I'm just defending the fan base. Somebody's got to do it around here.
Why?
I don't know. You don't know that that's the shtick? You kind of got to love on everybody?
I do love on everyone.
All right.
I have more tie to Clemson than anyone here.
We got to do a better job of telling our true truths, okay? While also maybe lying a little bit to fans to make them feel good about themselves.
I'm going to tell you straight. I'll be honest with you.
So we're just going to be the straight truth tellers.
Lying's not a good thing.
What about fabricating?
Lying is a sin.
You're right. We got a whole nother hour coming up right now on the other side of the break. Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? You really like that? Let's shut up and grab some tape.
I've ever pissed myself on the show.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back into the Film Guy Network. We got a whole nother hour coming to you guys tonight here on the local hour. It's going to be a great one. We've got warm off the presser. Are you guys excited for hot off the presser?
Oh, I love those.
I can't wait.
I love hot off the presser because I think that our show is a little bit naturally chaotic, but hot off the presser is just pure chaos for like the first 15 minutes.
Well, it's not as much anymore.
You don't think so?
Well, because it was very chaotic when we would do the local hour first.
Oh,
when you would come down and you just start spit firing it off.
I don't even remember doing local hour first.
We did do the local hour first for a while.
Yeah.
But now as much you have that hour of national hour buffer in
to let him cook,
But
and then by the time I get there, I'm super hot.
It's still chaos though, because
Definitely.
he's printing notes, scrambling to the desk, like the countdown's literally happening as he walks in the door. Like sometimes we're doing the intro while he's running around. Like
the chaos is definitely
it's
there.
fantastic to me.
Yeah.
But it was at peak chaos in the first year.
I do think Tuesdays and Wednesdays sometimes are our best shows during the year because it is that. We are very structured around here. We spend a lot of time, about 2 hours before the show, working on what we're about to talk about. But sometimes I do feel like our best stuff is just, let's just mess around, find out. You know, not this hour though. Not this hour tonight. We got a loaded show for you guys tonight. Let's get into these Kirby Smart press conference notes, and I'm gonna do my best not to go on a rant that I've already delivered twice to these two individuals that I cannot go publicly with. So we'll get into it and try to keep my blood pressure at a minimum, please, boys, please.
Okay.
Kirby Smart's really pissed off about the weather. All right, really pissed off about the weather. Like, he wants it to be 175 degrees outside, and it's only been, false falling right now in Georgia.
It's been delicious, dude.
And he ain't too happy about it. Have you noticed this?
Yeah, he's very much come out, and it's very funny because he'll talk about, I enjoyed the effort of practice. Guys were going around working hard, but he always caveats it with, but that's because the weather's cool. I mean, it's not hot out. These guys aren't being tested mentally. They're not being fortitude. So, it's probably because the weather's cool.
You got to callous. You got to callous the body.
I saw Bloody Tuesdays was indoors though. Why are we doing it indoors if we want to complain about the weather?
He had the heater turned up.
Well, no, probably because it was raining.
Oh, wham.
Loose track. Wham.
I don't know.
We got to play in the elements.
He's pissed about the weather. Why can't I be pissed about the weather?
Hey, soften it, but America. We can't even practice in the rain nowadays. We got to go inside. You complaining it ain't hot enough, but you can't practice in the rain. I'm with you.
Man.
Don't let Kirby see this episode. God forbid it be one of those off days on some chance.
He did feel like the scrimmage Saturday was extremely competitive. Mm-hmm. And he was satisfied and, quote, pleased with the effort. Was pleased with special teams periods. We'll have more on that in a little bit. Was asked about the second-year players. He said there's freshmen that played last year that are still experiencing growth. Obviously, that would be KJ. Who were some freshmen that played last year? KJ, Dwight Phillips played a little bit.
JJA got in a little bit before.
JJA got in a little bit before he got hurt. Chris Cole, obviously.
Cole
Justin
played.
Williams got a little playing time.
Saw some Ellis Robinson in mop-up duty. But yeah, still seeing moments of growth
from some of these young guys that played last year. Jacoby White being one of these players, I would imagine. So there is that. I asked him about Rayshawn Dinkins and Thomas Blackshear, two football players I let you know about last night here on the network. And Kirby let us know about a groin injury that's been nagging Thomas Blackshear, but he mentioned it, showing some flashes, some stuff that we talked about last night, but really hit the nail on the head with Dink. When I asked about Rayshawn Dinkins, the first thing he said, football player. That's what we told you last night, right? This is a guy who immediately got on campus and they were like, oh, ball player, just throw as much at that kid as we possibly can. He's very instinctual. He understands how to go about the business and play the game of football. Mentioned Malachi Tolliver having an ankle injury. They needed a bunch of depth and competition for that number 2 spot because they know who the starting center is. What they don't know is if Drew Bobo gets hurt, what happens.
Yeah, and the Malachi Tolliver injury kind of hinders that, you feel like, a little bit, just because it did seem like he was going to be the next in line to do so. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise in that it provides you an even more opportunity to build depth.
And read the wording on this, dealing with an ankle. You know, if it was a high ankle, we'd already be in surgery.
Yeah.
Got a groin.
We're dealing with an ankle, got a groin. Oh, he's got a groin? That's crazy.
Dude, thank God.
But again, something that we've kind of talked about a little bit of, like, you got 3 players really, like, with the inclusion of Josh McCray on the injury report right now, and you're halfway through fall camp. That's pretty dang good.
Speaking of Josh McCray, I thought this was the funniest quote of the day. He was asked if Josh McCray is indeed like behind playing catch up, and the quote was, you know, I don't know if he's really behind, but we got to get him up to speed in terms of, like, we got to get him in shape. We got to get him up to speed on the offense. Got to get him a lot of volume of reps and got to get the calls with him. But other than that, like, he's not too far behind.
So you mean like everything that requires you to play running back?
No, not everything. We just got to get him in shape. We got to make sure he knows the offense and all of the calls, and we got to make sure he's ready to take the rep share. But other than that, not too far behind.
Well, that's great news.
Yeah. So there's that. Chris Cole was asked about that. Said he's a high effort and IQ player. I loved hearing that. Obviously, the dude's a freak.
Now, I saw this question actually at the beginning of our show, so I wanted to bring it up now. There's someone in chat asking about what did Kirby mean by saying Chris Cole would be playing Apex this year. I guess he mentioned that, I suppose.
All right. Apex is an extended box player, boys and girls. All right. If we are apexed, meaning this is the box, these are the wide receivers, we are apexed in between the two. We are AKA splitting the difference. So if we're an apex player, we're out here. We're an extended box player. It's what Brian Kelly and Blake Baker, we just got to talking about with Harold Perkins. That's what it is. All right. Now, the difference is, in my opinion, Chris Cole, I got high school tape of Chris Cole walking down playing bump and run out at corner. Okay. That's the type of freak that guy is. So when he's saying extended box player, that's what he's talking. Apex is what that word means. So good question right there in the chat on that one. Hope I answered that one cleanly. Running back room said he's pleased. Biggest thing there is staying healthy, making sure all guys are ready. He gave us nothing. Nate was going to be trusted on third down. I figured that out. Was asked where Nate's growth has been, figuring out what he's supposed to do, when he's supposed to be in on protections, when he's supposed to be checking out on third down. They feel a lot more trustworthy with third down. He didn't talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it. Are we sure Nate Frazier's got natural hands?
I was thinking about this. I couldn't remember from last year. I don't remember Nate Frazier drop.
Clemson.
Week one.
Week one.
Yes.
And didn't throw the ball the rest of the time.
But I feel like outside of Cash Jones, the running backs didn't really get thrown to.
Yeah, so it's just... it's quite a thing. Like, we're going to get into what we know, what we don't know. Can Nate Frazier really be a weapon out of the backfield? Juan Gaston, I told y'all, he's going to play on this football team this year as a true freshman. He's been getting 1s and 2s reps per Kirby Smart. And as we told you, came in a little bit heavy, right? I was told somewhere around like the 370 range, okay, when he checked in. He's already down to about 345, okay, playing about 343 and continuing to get in better shape. Kirby said he needs to continue to do so. Starts to wane at practice, okay? Taking a lot of reps, and by end of practice, it sounds like Juan's a little bit gassed.
Gassed a ton.
I had to. Said Elo Mendoza is still figuring it out. And
Elo? You mean Elo?
I did it, didn't I?
You did.
Elo.
Glenn Schumann would tear you in the
yeah, he would. Competitive and twitchy. Loved that. Competitive and twitchy. I think they needed that. They need some twitch in that room.
Mm-hmm.
Like Gabe Harris is a really good football player. I wouldn't say he's twitchy.
No.
I wouldn't say Quintavious Johnson is twitchy. I'd say he's a great athlete. I don't think he's a first step bend the edge guy. I don't think of Nolan Smith when I think of Quintavious Johnson.
No.
I might by the end of the year with my man Elo.
Hey.
Oh boy. Locked in. I like it. O-line group continuing to establish a toughness identity. An identity of toughness.
How exactly do you establish a toughness identity within the offensive line this part of the season?
Man, I want to make a Drew Bobo comment right now.
Why can't you?
Your offensive line can't be too pretty.
Oh.
You can't be tough and pretty and play offensive line. It's just not you can't have 5 pretty guys. You got to have a couple of ugly ones. Or as my offensive line coach would say, got to mix a liquor drinker in every once in a while.
There you go.
Okay?
Interesting.
We can have a few Bud Light drinkers, but we need somebody that's like, hey, I drink Jack Daniels straight, no rocks. That's the type of liquor drinker we need every once in a while in the line or office line room. Was asked about Ryan Puglisi. He said he prepares really, really hard. And I thought the most important thing he said was he's recognizing his mistakes now.
Yeah,
not that he's not making mistakes still, but he identifies it when it happens, why he messed up.
I thought this was the best quote that he gave during the press conference, and really the most important one, because it kind of addresses something that we've kept discussing on the show of, is Ryan Puglisi ready to enter one of these roles or one of these situations where Gunnar Stockton can't go for like even just a series in a game. They got to insert Ryan Puglisi. I'm not saying that he is ready based off of what Kirby said, but it sounds like he's getting to that point of like he understands the offense and he understands what he needs to be doing.
He even said that. I feel like he understands things better now.
There's nothing more important than being a Georgia quarterback than actually understanding the position. You look at some of the best quarterbacks Georgia's had under Kirby Smart. None of them have been, oh my God, they're so athletic. You need athleticism, and Ryan Puglisi certainly has that. But the understanding of the quarterback position as a whole and why you mess up or what happens when you do or how you go about things is what's most important. It seems like he's developing that. So
I want to hold that super chub from Georgia fan 224 until the next segment, okay, at the end of next segment, because I think that's a great question about what we know and what we don't know. All right, so we'll get to that in here in a second. I want to make sure we get to that, okay, boys? Dude, the comments he made about Ryan Montgomery, if that don't sound like a Georgia quarterback, or rather a Kirby Smart quarterback, I don't know what does.
Oh, yeah.
All right, if Kirby says these things about you, you're going to play for him one day at this position. I don't know how, by the way, with Jared Curtis getting on the roster next year and Ryan Puglisi still being there, Gunnar having eligibility. But if Kirby Smart says these things about you, he gets it. He understands what we're doing. We throw a lot at him, and he absorbs it. If he says that about you, you might have a chance. Throws a catchable and accurate ball. How many times we hear Kirby Smart talk about accuracy being a requirement at the quarterback position?
Accuracy and timing.
Applies coaching to the field. We tell him to do something. We tell him to fix something. Applies it immediately. That guy got a chance. That guy's got a chance to play at Georgia. He just got to outlast everybody.
No, he definitely does. And who knows, he might one day. But the optimism there is understanding how to play the quarterback position more than anything. If you hear someone talking about, wow, he's got a great arm, or wow, he's really athletic, there's certain things going on at practice that are probably alarming that you wouldn't hear when he says, playing right on time, doing all the right things that you need from the quarterback position in Georgia.
This is even more significant to hear him talk about Ryan Montgomery like that because he missed all of spring. He was still rehabbing from his ACL injury. Now he was part of practice, but he really wasn't. Like, he still had his knee brace on and all that stuff. All that clearly just getting back into the motions of practicing again. Like, so the fact that Kirby is speaking that highly of a player that's like just now playing football again for the first time in like a year, that's a pretty big deal.
Was asked about Ellis Robinson and the steps that he's taken in year 2. I loved hearing him talk about physicality. Right now, he's still got to take steps in being a more physical football player, coming down and striking. But there's not a lack of willingness to do so. Right, he's willing to stick his nose in and be a physical attempting player, and that is a box to be checked right there. All the additional growth there is going to come as his body continues to mature. But what he talked about with Ellis is what we've always known about Ellis. very unique playmaker, all right, in terms of a corner that has the ability to find and impact the football. I feel like Georgia either has one or the other. They either got a corner who is so fast and so athletic that they're always going to stay in your hip pocket but can't make a play on the ball, or they have a guy who may not be the best athlete in the world but can make a play on the ball every time it's around, like Kamari Lassiter. I just described, by the way, Eric Stokes and Kamari Lassiter. The only combination of the two I feel like Georgia's had of a freak athlete, and damn, he's got ball skills, is Tyson Campbell. And that was a can this guy stay healthy thing for 3 or 4 years. Am I right?
No, yeah, it is. It's just the irony, because you're absolutely right on the assessment. The irony of that is Eric Stokes, like, I think has the most interceptions of a Kirby Smart.
I know. And every time I talk about Eric Stokes not being able to catch the football, everybody's like, look at all the interceptions. I'm like, yeah, look at all the interceptions. Those balls caught him. Go watch that Florida interception. That ball hits him in the gut. He's got no opportunity, no chance other than to catch the football.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's ironic.
Yeah. Where are we at? Oh, JJ Hane is going to play for this football team.
Sounds like.
Already got the blue guardian cap, right?
Cap, and like we heard about it. We were nugging it in the spring. This dude plays like his hair's on fire. This dude plays like he ain't got no other opportunity but to play hard in football. And this is life, okay? Football is life for JJ Hane.
I have a question with that then.
Yeah.
Obviously, he fits the fire, passion, energy category of what gets you on the field. Was that not what got you on the field last year, necessarily? Was there something else that Kirby was looking for other than, fire, passion, energy? Obviously, you had that. That's great. But they've put such an emphasis on it this year. It makes you wonder, if J.J. Hane was on the 2024 roster, would he have played?
I don't want to go back to last year. What I want to say is, like, moving forward, yeah, you have to reward this. If there is obviously one football player who plays with far more fire, passion, and energy than anybody else in the room, if he doesn't have the highest ceiling, you still might have to play him. You have to reward this type of stuff. Why else are you doing the blue cap stuff? Why else are we making people want to have this, right? If this kid shows this, if this young man displays this day in, day out, you have to reward that with playing time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So we don't have to do the last year thing. Because we know, and they know, obviously, that there was something missing last year in this department. It's why it's been so hammered on. Oh, my bad. Adrian Maddox getting more comfortable. Okay, he talked about rat trapping. Okay, do you know what rat trapping is? What they call rat trapping?
No.
I would assume it's falling for eye candy, getting sucked in as a...
I took it as a different way when he was talking about Adrian Maddox. I think when a safety is playing rat trap defense, they're trying to bait the quarterback into making a decision so they can make a play.
Okay.
Right? We're trying to trap that guy into making a play instead of playing our defense. Okay? You know who was the number one rat trapping safety in the history of Georgia football under Kirby Smart?
J.R. Reed.
No. He played it by the book. Richard LeCount. Richard LeCount did whatever he wanted to for 4 years. Now, he was good enough to do that. Adrian Maddox, you hear people talk about him, and players specifically, they're like, man, he's always around the ball. He's always around the ball. He's always impacting the ball. Well, guess what? Sometimes at Georgia, your job ain't supposed to be around the ball. Your job is supposed to be over there covering what might be an explosive in 2 quarters if we're not careful. Okay, so though you're making plays, you still might get your butt chewed out. I remember Kamari Lassiter's first interception against Vandy. Makes a play, comes off the field. Kirby's face is as red as humanly possibly could be. Mother effing Kamari Lassiter. They're up 47-7 in a football game. Okay, so
they were up more than that.
I know, it was a lot. But
that
anyway,
was a 62-0 game.
Yeah. Either way, just because you're making plays don't mean you're making the right play. At Georgia, you got to play within the system, down to down, do what you're supposed to do. He's got to continue to grow in that department. But there's no doubt that guy's a playmaking SOB. I thought it was interesting to hear Mike Bobo immediately talk about Colby Young as the guy in the wide receiver room. Everybody looks at him. This is clearly our alpha. No doubt Colby Young's our leader. When asked about who your leaders on offense are at the wide receiver room position this year or today, Kirby gave me 3 different names. Kirby gave me off the top of his head, London, Branch, Dylan Bell. And then started talking about, it's really leadership by, what do you call it? Committee. Committee leadership. So maybe that is indeed what it is. Just, they got 4 old heads that are just picking it up.
I would say that does not surprise me. A coach contradicting another coach when it comes to stuff like that, headliney, grabby things.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me. Like it's not like he came out and said, "These are the best players in the room. These are the players that are going to play the most. These are the leaders." Leadership is a very loose term. It can mean you're a very boisterous guy. You're very out there. You lead the team, but you might never play. So
we don't have any guys coming to the microphone doing well, I have to lead now. So that's good. I haven't heard that. I 4 times back to back last year.
Which, by the way, we talked about it when they said it. Was like, it's not a problem, but it's something.
It could be.
It's something to pay attention for, and it ultimately ended up being one of the Achilles heels of that team.
Mm-hmm.
Like it never felt like there was strong leadership within it.
No.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it a bunch of times about how that shouldn't be something that you're just forced into. It's something that you gravitate towards. It's something that you choose yourself. Like, you're not just like, oh, here I am. Now it's time for me to do this now. Special leaders are the ones that everybody just looks at you and knows. Nobody has to say, like, you're the leader. Everybody just knows, like, that guy's a leader.
You're not called to lead. You're born to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just like, oh, hey, we're going to make you a leader now. That's not how that works.
You sound like an Army commercial.
Huh?
You sound like an Army commercial.
No, I mean, it is. I mean, it's a very cheesy and cliche thing to say. You're right. I'm with you.
No,
it felt cheesy coming out, but it's the reality.
No, it's very true.
Yeah. I just think people are comfortable doing it or they're not.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. Now, we can, if you're not a vocal person that's standing in front of, you can be hey, just watch what I do. You can be a Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers was an incredible leader at Georgia with never having said a word. It was just, well, I got to work hard. Look at that maniac. Look what he's doing today. That's our best player. Holy hell. I think Carl Nassib does, or not Carl Nassib. I think your boy at the Raiders does this. Max Crosby.
Oh, Mad Max?
I think Max Crosby is one of the best follow me by example leaders that we have in football.
He's also a very vocal guy.
But he does both. Mm-hmm. And they're, I guess, the rare combination of both. But yeah.
Yeah, Max is very vocal.
Yeah.
See right. Last week's preseason game.
You're correct. I want to get into this what we know about Georgia, what we don't know about Georgia segment. Do you think this is going to be decent?
I'm excited for this.
I'm bullish on this. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through each position group that Georgia has, and we're going to tell you what we know about this football team right now and what we don't know about this football team right now. And I think what it'll do by the end of this experiment is kind of show us where the vulnerabilities of this roster currently are.
Yep.
All right, let's start with the quarterback position. Here's what I think we know. We know Gunner is going to compete and lead this football team. All right. We know he has a one ball. We know he can throw a deep ball. I know that about him having watched him. We know he's going to impact the run game. Mm-hmm. We don't know. We know he's not going to be a dynamic runner, but we know he's going to impact the run game. What we don't know right now at the quarterback position is, can Gunner Stockton layer the football?
Right.
All right. And we don't know if Ryan Puglisi is ready to play winnable football.
Correct.
I think they feel comfortable if they have to throw Ryan out there. He's not going to look like a chicken with his head cut off. Mm-hmm. But is he good enough to win football games in this conference? I don't know yet.
Going off of the Ryan Puglisi thing, and I don't want to say we know this, we feel fairly certain that at some point Ryan Puglisi is going to take snaps with the ones, just solely based on the way that Gunner Stockton plays the game of football. That's not saying he's going to get injured long term or that he's going to, have some season-ending injury that thrusts Ryan Puglisi in the starting position. But there will be a point this year where Ryan Puglisi runs out with the ones. And I've even said this. We might see it like the 2021 Stetson JT thing.
We're going to see the follow the pin, is it Saturday, at least once this year with Gunner Stockton. I think at least once.
And I think that kind of, again, reemphasizes, like, I understand that you're not getting your typical week one matchup that Georgia's had many times under Kirby Smart, but Marshall and Austin Peay are important games, and it's important that Georgia has a commanding lead in the second half for this exact reason of not just so we can sit here and say, like, oh, Ryan Puglisi, this is how he looked on Saturday, like, what do we think about his performance, but for the fact that he needs to be out there. He needs to be playing in that situation.
Mm-hmm. Anything else at quarterback?
I don't think so. I think that's really covers it.
All right, on to the running back position. We know that everyone's expecting a boom in year 2 for Nate Frazier. Mm-hmm. We know the areas of growth for him, right? We got to protect the football a little bit better. Got to be better about getting the dirty yards.
Yeah.
Got to be better about breaking arm tackles, things like that. But I feel like everything else about the position is fairly unknown, other than third down. We know we got Cash.
I was going to say, another thing we don't necessarily know. We know what the errors that Nate Frazier is looking to improve upon. We don't know how much he's going to improve upon them.
Bingo.
There are some players that are just naturally a prone to fumbling the football or turning the ball over. There are some players that just naturally want to bounce it outside because that's just who they are. That's who they grew up being a football player as. We know that Nate Frazier is actively working to fix those things, but we don't know how much they're going to get fixed.
We do know that there's a lot of names fighting for carries right now.
We know the room's deep.
Is there a more pivotal these games are trash games, 2 games to start the season than what Georgia's got right now?
I think Michigan.
Like we know Marshall and Austin Peay are not going to be good football games, but man, are they important for Georgia.
Oh, for sure. And we've talked about it, like there has not been an opportunity other than 2023, I think, where you don't have to necessarily hit the ground running. You have, we talked about preseason yesterday. You have 2 preseason games essentially to where if you come anywhere near losing those, disastrous things are happening. So go out there, learn about your roster, learn about the players on it.
I want to see what Rod Robinson looks like.
That's what we don't know either. We don't know what Rod Robinson looks like. We don't know what any of those guys who are coming back or coming in. We don't know what Josh McCray looks like. Not that I'm expecting to see him a ton in the Marshall game, just because like they said, you have to get him up to speed. But we don't know anything about anyone other than Nate Frazier
and Cash Jones on third down.
Correct. I forgot about him.
And we also don't know what style of run game are they going to have.
No,
they leaked that they put installed wide zone on the offensive line board. We saw it. Are we going to see it? You know what I mean? Are we actually going to see it? Right?
That's my question then. Is that one, how much, because we obviously talked about it, first 2 weeks, are you going to try to be, really establish your offense? Are you going to pull that out of the bag first? Because if Tennessee sees you've got wide zone, if Alabama, if all these other teams are going to play later in the season, if they say, they've installed wide zone, we need to prepare for that. Whereas opposed to you come into Tennessee. What?
Isn't that a win? Isn't it a win that I just gave them more to prepare for?
Correct, but isn't it more of a win if you're sitting down as a DC in the middle of the game and oh my God, did they just run wide zone? We haven't been working that at all.
I'm with you for we got to surprise them, but this is a football program. Again, I've studied them for 8 years. Apart from a jet sweep, that offensive line has not been running wide zone. They have not been giving game reps of what this feels like, what it looks like, how to block it, how to do it. So I'm with you. We got to surprise them. We got to shock them. But we got to get reps at it as an offense.
Yeah, I mean, even if you do show it, that just means that you have a multiple run game. Like you have Gunnar Stockton's in the equation, all the running backs that you have, all the different style of running backs that you have, wide zone, inside zone, that's a lot that a defense has to prepare for on top of and they might take our head off with the passing attack.
And they've got counter. And they've got run game with the quarterback. And we might get quarterback power here. And don't worry, they might jet sweep us. Oh, also off of all that, flood into the boundary off.
They're going to draw the hell out of you, by the way.
Huh?
They're going to draw the hell out of you with QB, with Gunnar Stockton.
You think so? They're going to Riley Leonard it?
I think they are. Do that.
I mean, everybody and their mama knew that Haynes King was keeping the football on 3rd and short in that Georgia Tech football game, and it didn't matter. It did not matter one bit.
It mattered on that last 2-point conversion.
It did.
When CJ
Allen finally was like, tired of this.
God, dude. Thank God.
I was tired of running back and forth. Tight end room. We know Oscar and Lawson. I think we know who they are. What we don't know about those 2 football players is there another step?
Yeah.
Is there another portion of development for both of these guys?
I don't know if in Lawson Lucky's less of this because he hasn't been on the roster as long. I don't know if we've seen the absolute full potential of Oscar Delp. I can say that for the most part, I feel like we saw the most out of Brock Bowers. Mackey Award winner, should have been a 1,000-yard receiver, best tight end in college football history. The threshold was there and he crossed it. We've heard great things about Oscar Delp. We've seen great flashes. I don't know if he's reached that ultimate step.
I'll tell you what. I haven't seen anything on tape to make me think you're the best blocking tight end Todd Hartley's ever had. Have y'all? Because he said that multiple times over. Kirby said that now. I'm waiting for that. Now, maybe I don't watch him close enough, but I feel like I do. Split zone last year was just not good enough. It was not good enough. It was not physical enough. It was not what it was supposed to be, in my opinion. And that's all tight end blocking. That's all, hey, are you physical enough to dig out this backside defensive end? There was a lot of that I felt like was in the shorter department last year. It came up short.
I also think the guys that are supposed to take a step forward this year we don't know enough about. We don't really know about Jaden Riddell. We think that he's going to have some form of a contribution this year, but we don't know how much.
He was asked about Jaden Riddell, and he gave this relatively demeaning answer about, like, I don't know where y'all are getting your information. I don't know who y'all are talking to, but that's just false. He didn't do anything that I was basically impressed with. And like, my whole thing is, like, you can't get mad as a football coach if there are false narratives about your program out there if you don't allow any type of access. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I think it's borderline. It's not disrespectful. I think it's demeaning to do that to a media member who's just trying to do his job, and you make it harder to do his job than anybody else in the country. And I thought he did it twice today. I thought he did it to a tight end question, and then he was asked about a special teams question, and he demeaned the reporter. And I as a reporter, I felt disrespected in the room because I work really, really hard. I try really, really hard to educate my audience and my readers about your football team, but you don't allow any type of access. Sorry.
There's a little mini rant there.
By the way, that rant went way worse off air. Way worse. So
yeah, dude.
Yeah, I think that as much as it does feel like we know the tight end room, it kind of feels like we don't know a whole lot at the same time. But like, as far as like Oscar Delp and Lawson Lucky's ceilings going into this year, and then also like, what are the younger guys going to bring? Like, what are the new faces going to bring? What is Jaden Riddell's contribution in the offense going to be this year? Things like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of I feel like it's the deepest room, but it also has the most questions within the offense, at least, as to where...
Just questions in terms of rotation. How many are you going to play? Who are you going to play? Are you going to be a 11 team? Or are you going to be a 12 team? Just the usage of this tight end room has more questions, not just are they good enough?
Yeah, absolutely.
Bodies, you're right in that standpoint. On to the wide receiver room. I think it's, hey, we know they got options. We know the best will play. We know they're better than they were last year.
Do we?
I think so.
Talent-wise, yes. On paper, they are better than they were last year. But on paper, the 24 group was better than the 23 group, and you could argue that they were far worse.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Is I feel like I'm saying the same things that I said last year. So like, I don't really know much about the wide receiver room this year, other than I think that they're going to be good, but I don't know. I don't know that to be true. I mean, we don't, like, as much as I think that Colby Young is going to be great this year, we just don't have a lot of Colby Young at Georgia so far. But like, we think he's going to be really good. And Zachariah Branch, like, we know what he was able to do at USC, and we know the type of playmaker he is, but got to actually see that happen. Like, is Dylan Bell going to be the 2023 version that he was? Now that he's able to be plugged back into his typical position, like, things like that.
Here's the one thing that I know about the wide receiver room. It's two things. One, they addressed the holes via the transfer portal, the recruiting, all of that. They addressed the holes that they needed to. So that's one. Two, the coaching staff, the players on that team, everyone around it is extremely optimistic that things will be much, much better than they were last year. I can't tell you that it's going to be better. The everything suggests that it should be, but we don't know. We don't know how Zachariah Branch plays in this Georgia system. We don't know if Noah Thomas is actually that guy. We don't know how Colby Young's going to be. Colby Young hasn't played a snap of football by the time he takes the field. It'll be about 11 months. So the reality is there's going to be a lot of growing to do in this offensive wide receiver room. We don't know.
Onto the offensive line, we know 4 of the 5 starters. We knew that going into fall camp. We knew that going into spring, I felt like. What we don't know is who's going to play right guard. It's Michael Unai, it's Daniel Calhoun, it's Juan Gaston, which means exits. It means exits this fall. Somebody's leaving, especially if the young guy wins. You know?
Yeah.
So we also don't know how they're going to play together.
We'll say, though, I mean, we talk about it all the time with the quarterback position. Georgia holds on to offensive linemen pretty well.
I mean, Michael Morris is an example of this.
Yeah. I mean, that's another position that if they really want to keep you, if they feel like that you are going to play for them, they typically hold on to you.
And correct me if I'm wrong, the center position is once again going to become available at the end of this season, correct?
No. Drew's got a year.
Bubba's got Boo-boo. Damn.
That's crazy.
That's Freudian slip. That's on me,
crazy.
guys. It's on me, guys. Bobo has a year of eligibility left. I hate when that happens.
Just fuel to the fire of the Bobo haters right
dude,
there.
I hate when that happens.
You're going to call that man Boo-Boo the coordinator for a long time now.
He's only been at Georgia for 3 years, and he has a red shirt.
Okay, he's got 3 years left if he wants it.
Okay, so the center. My thought was, one of those guys should probably start cross training, but Damn.
Yeah.
It happens every now and again.
I mean, apparently you think he's boo-boo, and I got beef with Kirby. That's what just happened in the chat the last 10 minutes.
I do not think Mike Bobo is boo-boo.
But you think Drew Bobo is boo-boo?
I don't think Drew Bobo is boo-boo either. I think Drew Bobo is a very good center. I think he's going to be a good starter for Georgia.
He's going to be a great starter for Georgia. I think of all of the first-year starters, because I'm an offensive line guy, I think he's the one I'm most excited to watch on tape.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be fun.
We knew that, though. You know what we don't know? And correct me if I'm wrong. We don't know who the swing guy is.
I don't know if they have one.
I mean, but Juan Gaston could be this.
Micah and Juan.
But Juan not going to play center.
They don't have a swing 5.
No.
They got swing 4s.
No.
Juan Gaston and Micah Morris can play both. Like, Micah can figure it out at right tackle. He's not going to look like an NFL prospect, but he can survive at right tackle. He's big enough. He's large enough. He's strong enough. But other than that,
don't they always try to have a swing 5th though?
Yeah, but I mean, it's a hard thing to recruit,
right?
Especially like with the way they recruit now, you're always going to have swing 4s. You're always going to have people big enough to play both guard and tackle, but you might not have someone talented enough to play center. It's why they took so many center-only bodies this offseason.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Malachi Tyler's been on the roster for a while, but Cortez Smith is a center-only projection, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Walt Flynn will not play a position other than center the rest of his life. I know he played guard in high school, but he ain't playing that. He's my height. If Walt Flair is 6'2", I'd be shocked. I mean, he's noticeably smaller when he gets out there, when you watch practice. So there's that. We don't know their ceiling together yet, or their floor for that matter.
No,
we don't know what this team's going to look like up front. We just know the bodies. We don't know what they're going to play like. On to the defensive side of the football. Any more questions offensively?
I don't think so.
I don't believe so.
Defensive side of the football. Let's just do the D-line, and then let's do the defensive ends and edges together, all right? Because first and foremost, we've talked about this on this network, and I think it's going to be really hard to do this without going to the board. So be ready to do that if I get tongue-tied here. But used to, you had Malik Herring and you had Azeez Ojulari, right? You had a 6'5", 290-pound defensive end who is too big to be a stand-up rusher. And then something happened, I think, as soon as Uzo Doribe got there, where y'all stopped recruiting these 6'2", 240-pound body types and these 6'5", 290-pound body types, and you just kind of morphed them into one body type. So you got a bunch of dudes on your roster right now that are 6'5", 265 that can play both defensive end and be a stand-up jack if they need to. So I don't see only Malik Herring and only Azeez Ojulari. I see a bunch of dudes that can probably go around and play both. For example, Gabe Harris and Q Johnson are this. Gabe Harris started at Georgia as a defensive end, cross-trained at jack. Quintavious Johnson started at jack, cross-trained at defensive end. Depending on what situation they get put in, both of them are going to play defensive end and jack this year. Okay? I feel the same way about the rest of the roster. L-O-A, all right, is a long edge rusher that can also play defensive end if needed to do so. We feel this way about my man Isaiah Gibson. Mm-hmm. We feel this way about Darian Inkanagban. All right, the only one who's kind of I don't know if you're ready to set the edge right now in college is Chase Linton. Mm-hmm. He's the only dude in the room that might not be able to do it right now, tomorrow, today. But other than that, they got a bunch of hybrid players at the position. So we know that about them. We know they have plenty of bodies. What we don't know is the rotation. How you're going to play these guys.
Very, very akin to the running back room right now. Of like, I would say like Gabe Harris is kind of your Nate Frazier. Of people are expecting Gabe Harris to take this leap forward this year because he's going to be a focal point of this defense, and he's going to play more, and he's going to be the main guy there. And then after that, we got plenty of bodies. Just don't really know what it's going to look like. Don't know what the rotation is going to look like, and really don't even know if Gabe Harris is going to take like this massive leap this year, like we expect him to.
Mm-hmm. It's also interesting in the comparison to the running back room is that each of these guys have slightly different skill sets and traits. Now, obviously, similar body types, similar builds, that's not where they're separated, but they do things differently that makes them unique, and I wonder what's going to play better for them.
I think you see a crap load of rotations early on. Also, to be noted about this position group is like, where and how often does Chris Cole get added into this as a stand-up rusher?
Right.
That's something to be paying attention to.
Does he just become a third down guy?
I think he becomes let's make the offense try to find out where 9 is.
Is that, correct me if I'm wrong, that's kind of what Adam Anderson did for the first part of that 21 season.
Yeah, I mean Adam was like my man Perkins Adam was just like Harold, where they were like, well, you're a good third down pass rusher, but we don't want you playing in the box setting edges on first down.
No.
So on first down, we'll play you as this hybrid extended player. But what ended up happening is on first down, they just stay in nickel. They just wouldn't even worry about it. They just get him off the field and then play him on third down. That's what it ultimately ends up being.
Right.
But with Chris, I would imagine first and second down, he's playing inside linebacker. Third down, he's a situational rusher or a situational drop cover guy.
So then that moves to the next question. We don't necessarily know what that linebacker rotation is going to look like. We assume Raylan Wilson's going to be your will, and obviously CJ's probably.
I think the rotation at linebacker looks a whole hell of a lot like it did in 2020, where Monty and Tay take the first team reps, and then Channing and Quay come in the third series and give them a breather, where they take 2 series with the quote unquote starters, a series with the young guys, 2 series with the starters, a series with the young guys.
I like that.
I could see that happening for them this year at that position. Because it would be really, really hard for me to keep Justin Williams off the field. Like, I know you're going to find places for Chris to play, but Justin deserves to play on this roster too. He's good enough to do so.
For sure.
You got to get him burned. So there is that. Which moves us to our inside linebacker position. I feel like it's the most solid. We have no questions about this room at all. The only question is, how do you play them?
Yep.
The other question I have is, how much of a step are these guys taking? We've talked about the year three theory and Glenn Schumann. C.J. Allen and Raylan Wilson are both entering year 3. How much of the step are we going to see? Are we going to see Butkus award-winning C.J. Allen, or are we going to see really, really good linebacker C.J. Allen? I think that the both are on the table.
Honestly, I think the linebacker room and the corner room are in the same boat.
Yeah.
We got 4 NFL guys in 2 spots to play them. How do we do this?
Yep.
And what you're going to see is at inside linebacker, I think you're going to see a lot of 3 linebacker sets like you did last year. You're going to see some 3-3 hybrid stuff that you saw last year. And at the corner position, to alleviate that problem of how do we get, I think you're going to see some dime this year. I think you're going to see some guys get thrown out there in quote-unquote nickel corner positions where Dalen Everett's guarding the number 3 corner and Ellis came onto the field.
I would love to know, and there's probably, they have some metric on it, I'm sure, how much Kirby Smart has gone from running a mint front from 2021 to how much it's decreased now.
Oh, God. I mean, if they got put in it last year, it was just because of a motion that they, or a shift that they wanted to present the front in. But the only odd fronts I saw him play last year, like a true zero defense, was against Texas. So they really have, but that's more because they don't have the body type.
Yeah, and they were doing.
And this year, if they run mint, it's because they believe Nnamdi Agboko is good enough to play nose
And with
down.
that, you're running a lot of double mug as well to throw them off. So interesting, because I felt like the 4-2-5 mint front was the revolutionary defense, and you're seeing a lot of these guys kind of transition away from it now.
Did I talk about the interior defensive line?
Not really.
I didn't feel like I did. We know McLeod and Miller are going to be really, really good. We know they're going to be the 2 feature defensive linemen. We know Elijah Griffin's going to play. What we don't know, how much Nnamdi Agboko is going to play as a true zero. What we don't know is whether or not Jordan Hall is going to be that twitchy disruptor that they need him to be. I think he's the major key in how far this defensive line
completely
goes.
agree with that.
We also don't necessarily know how this team's going to handle the run.
Yeah.
Interiorly. We talked about, I don't feel like last year's interior defensive line play was bad, but you look up and Georgia got outrushed, and there were a lot of more explosive plays in the running game than they ever had. Now that also goes on the offense, and there's some areas that need to be cleaned up there, but Georgia's interior run defense statistically wasn't bulletproof last year.
No, it was not. I mean, I think it kind of goes back to what Glenn Schumann was talking about with changing the math. I just don't know if they were able to do that consistently last year. I think this year you have the opportunity to do that. I think you have more players that are going to be able to help you do some things there. And obviously with the help of C.J. Allen, the linebacker core, those types of guys, I think you'll see an improvement there. I don't think you're going to see them get back to holding teams to like whatever it was. Like
sub 12 points.
Yeah,
their
sub 12 points.
Standard for elite defense, by the way, is sub 13 points per game.
Boom.
That's what their standard is.
You get 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
And a field goal.
That's insane.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be holding teams like 50 yards rushing per game or anything crazy like that, but I think it's going to be better this year.
I feel like we know, talking about the star position, I feel like we know that Jonell has stepped up or at least made improvements in his man-to-man coverage ability. I also felt like it was really refreshing. I was like asking players, I know what I think your deficiencies are, by the way. I watch a lot of film, so I make my own opinions about you. So if you're a Georgia player watching this today and I ask you, hey, what are the areas of improvement you identified in your game that you need to improve upon? All I'm doing is searching for confirmation on my own thought processes of you as a football player. A little trick there of the trade. So we've talked about it. Jonell needs to improve as a man-to-man cover guy in the nickel. I asked him today, self-awareness. I got to be a better man-to-man cover guy. I feel like I have taken those steps. So I love when a young player is very self-aware. We've always talked about that on this network. Do you know why you aren't as good as you could be? And if so, do you know how to go about changing those things? That was important to hear from me today. I think we know that about Jonell. I think we know that if he were to get hurt, Ja'Cory Thomas is playable there. What we don't have any idea about, and I would pray that someone listening today that has intel on this will give me an answer. What in the heck is the future at the star position?
For this season or just in general?
Future. When Jonell Aguero leaves this roster, what are y'all doing? Who's going to play there? Is it going to be Todd Robinson? Is it going to be Rashawn Dinkins? Like, what do y'all? And if so, who's going to play safety between those two? It's interesting to me.
I mean, they could pull what they did with Malachi and say, all right, you're our best safety. You're now the star with KJ, and then find two new safeties.
I mean, he very well could do that.
Which honestly has kind of been what they've done at that position of, okay, you're the most veteran, experienced guy here. I know Tyke Smith bucks this trend just a little bit because he didn't ever start till 2023, but he was on that roster for 3 or 4 seasons before he started. So, I mean, the experience is there.
Brooks, would Kirby hire John Gruden? I mean, what's the point? He's already got a thumbprint in the building. So no need. He's got all the access and all the ability to give input that he possibly wants while working for Barstool. Going to the safety position, what do we know and not know about the safety position?
We don't know how much of a step.
Still
KJ
not concrete of who is playing next to KJ. Yeah. Still, like, we know the options. We know the players that they're kind of weighing right now, seeing who's going to take over that role. And on top of that, like, we assume that Ja'Cory Thomas is going to start there next to KJ Bolden in week 1. We don't really know the timeline of, like, when Zion Branch or when Adrian Maddox or when anybody could, like, take over that spot.
They always fugazi us on this stuff with the position battles. For example, they gave Dan Jackson a series against Oregon in 2022. They gave Ja'Cory Thomas a series in 2024 before KJ Bolden was out there. So I would imagine Ja'Cory Thomas might get a series again this year before Zion Branch or Adrian Maddox is thrown out there to see if they could swim. They are a ceiling football team in terms of how they evaluate. If you are a football player that has the highest possible ceiling and your worst of worst are higher than the floor of the next available best player, the highest ceiling guy is playing football for that team. What's the giggles about?
Oh, someone's capering for Hines Ward to get hired.
Oh, yeah. With that again. We already talked about corner. I think it's in the same spot that the linebacker position's in. You got 4 really, really, really good football players. You're going to have to find out a way to play all 4 of them.
Do they do that, though? Because we've talked about it. They do they've kept it to a tight 3, and that might simply be because there only was 3 that they thought they could play. But correct me if I'm wrong. I've never really watched a Georgia defense in the last 5 or 6 years and thought, okay, they have one guy. Like, there's always been Kamari Lassiter's on the field at all times, or Dalen Everett's going to be on the field at all times, or so-and-so's on the field at all times.
The last time they rotated was Tyson Campbell and DJ Daniel, if my memory serves me.
That was 2020.
Yeah. That would have been the last time they felt like they had 2 good corners that were so good we had to rotate.
Because it was Tyson Campbell and DJ Daniel, and then Eric Stokes and Tyreek Stevenson.
Correct.
And that was their 4. Okay. So they don't do it often, but I guess, and those were 4 playable guys that certainly. And
look, history tells us one of these 4 corners is going to have a shoulder injury at some point this year. Right? I mean, it's just football. It's just the reality of the situation.
I mean, the way those guys tackle, yeah.
Talking about the corner position always takes me back to the Kirby Smart quote about he's never gone a season where a younger player didn't beat out an older guy. And I'm not just picking on like Dalen Everett or Daniel Harris this season. Like, I'm not saying that one of those guys is bound to lose their job. But like when we talk about like you got 4 really good football players, 2 of them are older guys, 2 of them are younger guys. Like I kind of even think of this with like, even when we're talking about linebackers, like I just get taken back to that quote of like trying to think of like who is going to be that guy this year. Like maybe it's even Elijah Griffin. Like maybe Elijah Griffin is this by the end of the season. I don't know, but I don't know. Just been thinking about that.
We thought it was going to be Xavier Truss last year.
Did think that.
We thought Monroe Freeland was going to beat him out. And injuries led to Monroe playing elsewhere. And Xavier's still out there.
Yeah.
But that was the one we circled. I don't know who I would identify as.
By default, it was kind of Nate. Nate was kind of that.
Oh, at the running back?
Yeah, but when Etienne was healthy, he was clear-cut RB1.
No, I know. I was like, by default.
Yeah.
I think last year or this year is going to be either Wallen Gasson or Daniel Calhoun.
Yeah.
I think they very, very quickly wedge their way into the rotation.
Side note here, we got Drew Bobo in media availability. That's my kind of guy right there. That's my kind of offensive lineman.
Interesting arm shape. Like didn't like in the best way possible. Didn't look like he was built like a lineman.
No. Honestly, doesn't look like he's built like an SEC football player. Just look like a big guy. Like if you just saw Drew Bobo walking down the street, like, "What's up, big guy?" You know?
Yeah.
But you wouldn't be like, "Oh, dude, where'd you play ball?"
Oh, you're the starting center for the Georgia Bulldogs?
But man, that guy, I think the term is mouth breather on this network. Mouth breather liquor. It probably drinks Bud Light, but ain't a whole lot going on up there other than football, I think.
I think you're
at a high level.
I want that. High level. Extremely high level.
I think you're the first person in human history to use the term mouth breather in an endearing way.
Yeah, because I'm a football guy. Look, I don't want astrophysicists playing offensive line. I just don't. I don't want nice guys. I don't want cool guys. I want ugly. I want big uglies. I want 5 big ugly son bitches. That's what I want.
Interesting.
And that's how I recruit, with skinny ankles. Be the ugliest son bitches with the skinniest ankles you'd ever seen. That's who I would recruit. Neanderthals. Exactly, Marion. That's what I want. I want Neanderthals. I want mouth-breathing Neanderthals playing offensive line.
Crazy.
With football autism.
Whoa. We need to shut this down. Shut this rant down.
Other side note, Jonel Aguero looks noticeably thinner to me. Did y'all notice that?
It's hard to tell from
he doesn't look
Buddy
as...
had a thick old neck last year. Thick uppers. But I think he's thinned out.
Seems like something that would go into playing better man-to-man coverage.
We need it. But he's in that Rod Robinson situation where we just can't. How are we going to lose weight? You're
no
like
body
2%
fat.
body fat, dude.
Yeah.
How are we going to lose weight? It's kind of that. But I think maybe stop lifting so heavy.
Try to mitigate some stiffness.
Maybe. But no, he definitely looked thinner to me, which is good. Do we have nostalgic tape?
We do have a nostalgic tape.
Ooh. So there's that.
I'm debating whether I should give you hints or not on this, or just let it rip once we...
No
hints?
We're just going to let it rip.
We're going to try to get you today. Dude, you have absolutely sparked a plethora of chats talking about,
Mouth breathers?
Yeah. I'm not sure that's a good thing.
I mean, it's an endearing quality around here.
I wouldn't say. I would say to you.
By the way, if I prefaced all of that with saying this is going to be my favorite player to watch all year long.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, you have said nothing but
mouth breather.
You said nothing but glowing things about him. I don't dispute that.
Just the mouth breathing comment confusion. You're just a tad bit.
I've never used it in an endearing way. I'll say that.
So this is Nick Chubb.
No.
Oh no. That's Cedartown though. Who could this? No, it's not Cedar. It is Cedartown, isn't it?
I don't believe it.
Hold on. I can't touch this because it'll tell me the name.
Yes.
It will.
All right.
You just got to watch.
Number 21.
Try to guess by the player, not the high school.
I know. Did he play running back at Georgia?
He did not.
No.
I don't even know if he played running back. I think he was just the option quarterback.
Oh. This is Mecole.
This is Mecole Hardman.
Yeah.
Still electric.
Every time Mecole Hardman's name gets brought up on this show, I always want to tell the story about me watching him work out.
Go ahead and remind the people.
So there's a couple of guys here in the Atlanta area that train a bunch of NFL dudes. One of them is my man TJ Brown. Okay, runs a wide receiver training coordinator or outfit down here in Atlanta. Anyways, had Mecole working out one day, and TJ hit me up, said, "Hey, Mecole's coming through. If you want to come through and film the workout, you're more than welcome." So this was right after Mecole's rookie year. Goes on, wins the Super Bowl. He's an All-Pro there, or a Pro Bowler that year as a return man. Has just had a great rookie year, right? He's out there working out with TJ. And the amount of times, y'all know what dry reps are around here.
Yep.
Okay. Dry reps are when, coach describes a drill that we're about to do. Okay. And it's probably a drill that you've done 1,000 times as an NFL wide receiver. And I look over in the corner and Mecole's over there walking through the drill. Okay. Doing a dry rep, sinking his hips at the cones that he's supposed to, right? Working his way out of the breaks, flashing his hands, doing everything. Taking dry reps and then would run through the rep full speed. Meanwhile, there's high school kids around here just, for lack of a better term, dicking around. They're just taking the reps, doing the reps, whatever, just getting through the work, right? And Mecole is grinding through the work, right? Thriving through the work, not surviving through the work, as a coach of mine used to say. Okay, and just watching his work ethic over and over again. Not only that, the willingness to help young players, the willingness to turn around and coach the kid behind you that just took a rep improperly, I was just tremendously impressed by the type of human and work ethic that he had. After the workout, took all the high school kids up to the hill and made them run after the workout. By the way, one of those kids that was at that workout, I forgot Caleb's last name. Caleb ended up going to Tennessee to play wide receiver. He's transferred to Maryland. Caleb Webb is his kid's name. At the time, didn't even have a D2 offer. I got him a D2 offer the next day. Ended up playing in the SEC.
Off-topic note, this might be the most impressively edited high school tape I've ever seen.
slow-mos are sick.
The slow motion in it, the camera quality, all of it is like pristine.
We got number changes in this.
What's funny to me is you watch this and it was like, yeah, you're going to play defense. You're going to go play DB. And his entire highlight reel is him with the ball in his hands.
He did play DB as a true freshman.
Started as a DB and quickly changed to wide receiver.
I don't know if he ever got any run as a DB.
No, I don't think he did.
I remember him solely as a return specialist for 2016.
At the end of that workout, one of those young players spun the ball on the ground. You know, you spin it on his nose.
Yeah.
And the ball kind of wobbled and then fell over. Mecole walks over there and tells the kid, "That's how I know you don't get in that end zone." And then grabs the ball and spins it. I swear it spun for like 3 minutes on its nose.
I don't think I have hands big enough to make it spin for a long time. I think that is something
Or enough practice of getting in that zone.
I was a defensive guy, dude. I got in the end zone once.
I got in the end zone twice in my career, both in Pop Warner football. That let the fat kid get a carry at the end of the year. That type of stuff. I did that twice in rec league football.
That was fun, dude.
Yeah.
Our rec league.
Played tight end as a freshman.
Wow.
And linebacker. It didn't work out.
I didn't know, you and I, can you imagine you and I played the same position at one
But
time?
I got great hands and a good nose for the rock. So, yeah, I was all over it. I had 19 tackles against Walker.
19? Wow.
They ran the triple, though, and I was playing Mike.
Yeah, I was saying Mike.
The fullback dive was not going that day, baby. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
But nah.
It's kind of wild to think about.
It's a good day. I'm glad you guys kept my blood pressure down on that. I appreciate you for that.
You're welcome.
I
think it's one of those things, you just, perspective.
Yeah. Appreciate you for being here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. I love you. Bye.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. First Wednesday show.
Whole segment's coming.